the Maximum Meathead Podcast. We are back with another episode of the Maximum Meathead Podcast, bringing the meat and potatoes of fitness with a side of trout. We're your hosts, Muscle Bill and Punchy Bouquet. What's going on, man?
What's up, boys?
Yeah, today it's a special one. We got my dad on.
It is a special day. And seeing him walking here, what a savage he is. He's like, I don't know how many kilometers away. We offered to go pick him up. Nah, I'll walk. That's the old school mentality right there. 2 feet and a heartbeat. I love it. I absolutely love it. So seeing your dad walking in the studio here, good to catch up with him. Good to see you as well, Bill. Had a nice workout today. Mm-hmm. That was spectacular.
Yeah, that was good. I went a little heavy today.
I really enjoyed that workout today, man. Felt great. And getting outside, and I understand why you'd want to walk here. She's a beauty.
Yeah, you said it just under 5,000 steps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been over 5,000 to get here.
Did you get picked up?
Yeah, at
the
he
texted me at microwave.
As soon as I text you, this black truck pulls in. I thought, okay, he's either in a hurry to get to chiropractor because that's what was there, or he's here. It's Joel. He's going to pick me up.
My back.
Yeah. Pull in, reverse, back up.
Yeah, I've done those rushes to the hospital. Can't look left, can't look right. Just hope for the best. Just drive. Anyways, introduce your father here.
Yeah, I don't know how to do. Thanks for coming. I don't know. Do you want to Spinnerbait King on Instagram? Best fisherman you'll ever know. I don't know. We came on. You've obviously, raised me, and I'm just curious to have you on and talk about all that craziness and your experience with cancer and everything else. So I don't know, whatever.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah. No, it's neat to have you on. But you want to start with a speed round? Something a little quick, get going?
Uh-oh.
Sure.
We'll keep it easy.
Sure.
I thought you'd be easy on me.
Yeah.
I'm an old man.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll keep it clean. We'll want to go back and forth.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
I got the first one. How many days in a row could you eat pizza?
Years.
Yeah. Forever. Yeah.
Went away for Father's Day for a fishing trip for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And 3 of us did. We each bought a large pizza Friday night. We ate it for supper Friday night. Might have had a slice before bed. We had it for breakfast the next day. We packed it for lunch on the boat. We got off the water for late supper. We got a large pizza each. Again, different toppings. And we ate it for supper. We ate it for breakfast, and we ate it for lunch.
Yeah.
And then we got off the water again, and we bought a large pizza each, and we ate it. We did it too. So that's all we ate was pizza. We never even took snack food. It was all pizza.
Variety of toppings, though. It's not the same.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had fruit. We had Hawaiian.
Yeah.
We had mushrooms. We had
Okay. Favorite type of fishing?
Bass.
The water? No.
Oh.
Ice or fly?
It'd have to be ice. I don't fly fish.
You don't fly fish?
No.
So you'd rather ice?
I did.
You'd rather ice fish than regularly fish?
No, I would rather fish out on my boat with bait casting and spinning rods. I don't fly fish.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I would definitely rather fish on my boat.
Nice. That's your
doing that.
go-to?
Yeah, that's definitely my go-to.
Sweet.
What's your favorite kind of fish to catch?
Bass.
Bass, yeah. I figured.
Favorite footwear, since you're a big walker?
Actually, I just put my sandals away. I have them on from spring until
Flip-flops?
now. Yeah. No, I have actually sandals. And anytime I go to load my boat or unload my boat, I just walk in. It doesn't matter if it's
Perfect.
April or October.
Yeah, sandals, flip-flops,
Yeah.
same deal
Like
to
the
me.
Velcro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
like the,
Nice. That's the best way.
Started wearing them years ago.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have a pair of hiking boots that I never tie up. I just slide my feet in and out. And I got a pair of walking shoes that when I'm walking, I put them on most of the time.
Sweet.
What was your favorite concert you ever been to?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Supertramp would be right up there in London because there were people crushed against the gate trying to get in. We got wasted.
Yeah. What year would that have been?
1976 or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of music, Supertramp?
I don't know. They're like a classic rock.
Like
band.
rock?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's rock.
cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's been on the radio forever. You
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
it for sure.
I probably know it to hear it.
Breakfast in America, a huge album. Like,
But the best concert I went to was Peter Frampton.
oh yeah.
And that's when you were with me.
Yeah. Well, which one?
Yeah.
There was
Savo, definitely. Yeah.
Sabo
yeah.
Beach?
Yeah, Savo Beach. That idiot.
got fucked.
That idiot with the beer store in Tiverton, or the beer plant in Tiverton, was playing it as a band and kept on. I guess I heckled him quite a bit as I got drunk and
What?
And we're hollering, you suck. Or I'm hollering, you suck. Get off the stage. Bring on April Wine. We're Supertramp. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then after he did a show and we get into Supertramp, I had two fairly big guys that were with me and Bill. And
Frampton, you mean?
After Frampton. After Frampton got on, these two big guys are standing behind me because the guy I was heckling was standing behind me with his bodyguard, and they thought if I saw him, I was going to turn around and do something, but I didn't. But
yeah. Well, then after that, just Frampton got off the stage, and I was fucking hammered.
3 times.
Yeah.
Three or four encores.
I run through the crowd and jump up onto the stage, and I grab a pick off his mic stand. And then from the side of the stage, fucking body cars they ran out at me, and I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And I hear Dad at the back. He's, "That's my fucking boy." And I'm like, "Yeah, Dad!" I fucking hopped off the stage and straight through the crowd.
Holy fuck! You guys are animals.
So we were in the beer gardens.
Yeah.
And he had to jump the fence to get out of the beer gardens first, run through the crowd, and there was a line of people there, and he jumped over top of their heads onto the stage and grabbed the mic. There's 4 security guards running to get him, and he just jumps over everybody's head again, back and runs and jumps over the fence and crosses his arms and looks back at him with the mic in his hand,
Nothing
or
happened.
with the pick in his hand.
Fun fact: the next day, I had my London appointment.
Yeah.
I go for my treatment, and that's when I found out that it sobered me out because it cleaned my blood out.
Oh,
But when
yeah.
I woke up in the bed, and I reached in my pocket. I found a red thong in my pocket, and my nurse was like, "What the?" I'm like, "Oh shit! I wonder where that came from."
You were wasted the night before your.
And we couldn't help him because we didn't know neither.
Yeah.
I got a red thong somewhere at the concert. Some
At
girl
some
gave
point,
me
you got a
underwear.
red thong. Nice.
Yeah, I'm like, "Huh, put it back in my pocket.
Probably because you're going so
Man,
so
yeah.
hard, man. Jumping over the crowd, jumping onto the stage.
Yeah.
That's a red panty night for sure.
Dude, yeah, it was. a good
I'm
night.
just glad that's the only thing you brought home.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
No, it could have been something you didn't
Worse.
want.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, anyway, it was a good time. Good concert.
Savages, man. Savages. Favorite movie?
What is it? Walking Tall, the guy that with the big stick.
Okay. Yeah.
What the hell is that called?
The Rock.
It's a rock.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
But there's an original one too.
Oh,
back from
the old
day.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was good also. Yeah.
I have to watch that. If you could go fishing with one person that you haven't gone fishing with, who would it be?
There's an awful lot of them.
I know.
Best bass for fishermen in the world is Kevin Van Dam.
Van Damme.
Van Dam. Yeah.
Got
KVD.
mean high kicks too.
Yeah. KVD. He's awesome. $25 million. I think he's won in fishing
In fishing competitions.
in his career. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's huge. Big sponsors.
Wow.
Awesome fisherman.
And you are a sponsored fisherman too, as well.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I'm
Right.
just a weekend warrior.
Yeah, but you're legit.
I have,
You know what you're
seven,
talking about.
7 companies that I promote, like work with them or whatever. So yeah, it's nice.
Do you want to get into that at all?
Yeah.
So when did you start fishing?
I threw my first fishing pole away when I was 5. We lived in London, and we parked in a parking lot on one side of a bridge, and we walked to the other side, and we fished down the shore. And my dad was there, uncles were there, everybody was there, the whole bunch of us were there. And at the end of the day, we had to walk back across the bridge, and I guess a brand new fishing pole, and I just fired it off the bridge. And I got screamed at pretty good about why'd I do that. I said, well, it wasn't any good. It didn't catch any fish. And I had that thrown in my face for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started really young. I think I was I think I slept in a dresser drawer on a fishing trip with my mom and dad when I was real young. It was like that was my.
So were they involved in fishing as well?
Oh yeah. His whole family fished like crazy. My mom
It's in the
fished.
blood
Everybody
then.
fished. Yeah.
Nice. So when did it? Where was the transition from being just a guy that goes fishing on the weekends to, like, I see you wearing fishing gear? You've done. What were you doing with the school at one point?
Got raising salmon in schools. It's 10 years now. Started with one school 10 years ago. The next year we had 3, and then I got Libro sponsored us with $6,000, so we went from 3 to 10, and then got a partnership with Bruce Power, and they give us $12,000, and we went from 10 to 17, and then they've been in a partnership with Lake Huron Fishing Club ever
Wow.
since. So we're up to 50 schools now.
Awesome. Weekend warrior, he says.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have,
I have
okay.
a feeling I'll draw it out of you, but there's a bit more to this fishing escapades that you're up to.
yeah, no, I love fishing. It's every day I'm off if I could. Like I would have been fishing today if it worked out, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I've been fishing a lot.
Damn, yeah, I do want you to take me out in the spring there and catch some fish. And what do you call it, fillet 'em?
Yep.
Sure.
Fillet them, cook them up, get them ready. I want to do the whole process. I need to do the same thing with hunting, but fishing is one we could easily do any afternoon, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to practice that too. I've never really filleted a fish, so
Right?
Spring.
I don't know how to break them down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spring's awesome for
think I shut
pike.
that off.
For pike too.
Spring is?
Yeah, it's awesome for pike. The water's cold. As the water warms up, they're maybe not as tasty, but in the spring the water's nice and cold and the meat's really good in pike.
Oh, yeah?
Walleye's
Nice.
another one, but a lot of people like pike.
Nice. I enjoy pick roll.
Perch. A lot of guys, if you watch the fishing shows and you go up north to fish for walleye, pickerel walleye,
Yeah.
a lot of the guides do a fish fry on shore, and they will actually take the walleye and the pike and put it in the frying pan, and you might think the pike is better than the walleye.
Really?
Yeah, cold water.
Yeah.
It's got to be cold water.
Yeah.
But I don't eat fish. Very, very, very seldom I'll have fish.
Oh, you don't?
Nope.
No.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It's always catch and release. Always
Catch
has
and
been.
release.
Yep.
Yeah. If I take something home, it's because it's going to die, and I give it to a buddy.
Yeah, like
I have
if
all
you
kinds of
catch
people that
and
will
you got
take
it all banged up, do you just keep
Yeah,
it
if
then?
they're bleeding too bad, or you just
Yeah.
can't, like
Yeah.
they're not going to survive.
Ideally,
Take it
where do you
home.
want to hook it? In the jaw?
Yeah,
Or in
and
the lip? Like,
for my bass fishing, you get if you're drop shotting or tubing and stuff, you get an awful lot of them top of the lip, but top of the lip or the jaw or on the either side of the jaw, like that's where typically you do.
what do you think about the people that put explosives in the water?
I have extra anchors that I carry, so I can just take them out there and
I
dispose of
figured
them.
as much. Is that a thing? Do people do that?
Years ago,
Yeah.
As far as
not-
I know, they
not as much.
I've
You've
known-
never encountered it?
No.
No.
I know a guy who knew it happened years ago.
Yeah.
But he talked about people he'd seen. actually
Same.
doing that
I've
years
always
ago.
heard. I've never ran into it. I've heard about it, but
Yeah. We're talking like 60 years ago,
Yeah.
or more, maybe even some.
right.
But even along the lines, like you got us into fishing, first of all, when we were 2,
Yeah.
we were young, all of us. I still have the old tackle box, my first one. We found it in the storage unit there.
And your fishing pole.
And my fishing pole too. Yeah, everything. So I got all my original stuff back, which is pretty cool.
No way.
It's 32 years old now, But yeah. But,
How old did you get it at?
2.
2?
Everyone in
You would
the-
take a 2-year-old fishing?
All my kids got
Yep.
over $200 worth of tackle on the second birthday, and the grandkids too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
My public school birthdays, like kindergarten, grade 1, or not kindergarten, I think grade 1, grade 2, whatever. We took 2-3 boats out to Fisherman's Cove and Silver Lake, and we caught like literally hundreds of fish in the day, like probably
get-
50 to 60 each.
However many people he was going to have for his party, I'd either get an extra boat or 2 and have an adult run it. My brother ran it, other friends have run them, and we just take them out for
Really?
Yeah.
an afternoon and hammer the fish. And we went to Southampton and hammered the catfish in the Saugeen River at the mouth.
Oh, yeah. They'd be big, wouldn't they?
McDonald's rented boats there. Some of them were, yeah. Some of them
Yeah.
were big, but a lot of them were that 18, 20 inches. So, but
Yeah.
still for a kid. It
Yeah.
just, like
It'd
the
be a
pole-
good battle for a
yeah,
kid,
just,
right?
Yeah, it pulls them over.
When you're like 6, 7 years old,
Yeah.
it's like,
yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah. That's a monster.
Yeah.
You're reeling in.
For sure.
I took them canoeing. They were 2 and 3. Bill was 2 and Jen was 3 when they actually canoed for the first time for a full day. And there was a kids run that time, but we didn't camp. After that year, I organized a kids run with a few other adults, and we had up to 36 people going in canoes down the Saugeen River.
Wow.
Camped Friday, Saturday night, and I fished all the time. And
Yeah.
it ended up I was usually the last canoe because we made sure nobody was behind us to get into trouble.
Right.
And then there was a guy up front all the time, and nobody got in front of him. So we just had
Yeah.
everybody. We might have been a mile apart.
Yeah.
But there was
But
nobody
there
got in
was
front of
always
him,
that.
and nobody
Yeah.
got behind me.
That's perfect. That's
Yeah.
the way to do it.
Just to put that into context, by being a mile apart, we were sometimes like 5 hours after everybody. So we would get it's like a 2-hour run if you go
Yeah.
straight. We go from bridge to campsite.
Yeah.
we'd be fucking 10 hours on the water, and everyone's there eating supper. We'd coming in. Meanwhile, Dad caught more fish, obviously, but
Yeah. You guys took your time.
it was.
But the kids that wanted to catch fish were
Yeah.
in front of us too.
Yeah.
They stayed with us.
No,
Yeah,
it was
oh,
just
for
crazy.
sure.
Like,
For
just
sure.
for reference point, we were
Yeah.
like hours and hours behind
You're
the
going
first
deep.
canoe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
We were paddling up the river more than we were paddling down the river to catch some more
Nice.
fish.
Nice.
Jennifer,
I like it.
Jennifer got on my canoe the year she was 11, and she wanted a canoe with a friend, and they were 11 years old, and that was for 3 days, 2 nights. And the mom was kind of hesitant, so I said, well, no problem, we'll just take them out before that. So I took them out to a couple of the dams around here and let them paddle. Jen could already paddle to steer the canoe. They worked good together, and they canoed the weekend from. I never had her back in my canoe after she was
After
11 years
that?
old. She was in the back of the canoe, and it didn't matter how big the person was in the front. She had somebody that weighed 270 sitting in the front, so it's really awkward to paddle
That's
with the front of
got
the
to be
canoe
hard.
down.
Yeah.
And she,
For a little body to do.
yeah, and she always canoed on the back. So
Damn, good for her.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a few questions before we get away about fishing terminology? Okay, so what type of fishing is there?
oh,
Is there like a million?
fly fishing is huge. There's a
Okay, so fly fishing is, just give it a quick nutshell. Like
long
you're-
wimpy rod that a lot of the people, they don't all tie their own flies, but they do tie their own flies, and you cast a presentation out that either floats in the top or slowly sinks, and then you let it drift down through the water or cast to a spot where you think a fish is that will actually come up and get it. So,
Right.
I've only done that 40 years ago, more than 40 years ago. But for me, I use spinning rods and bait casters.
Okay, so the fly fishing rods don't have a reel?
They do have a reel, but you don't cast and reel it in. You pull the line out and whip your pole back and forth and let the line go further and further until you go forward and let it drop.
All right. So then
Yeah.
there's the cast and reel.
Yeah. Spinning reels,
Spinning
spin
reel.
cast with a little button on it for kids.
Yep.
Or a bait caster, which I use mostly.
Okay.
I do use spinning reels for finesse stuff, but other than for smallmouth, for drop shotting and tubes and stuff, I usually use bait casters for everything.
Okay. So then there's trolling too. While
Trolling, yep.
Is there any other types of?
There's a spy fishing, which is the rod and the reel is something like a fly rod, and I've never done it.
Yeah.
Never been involved in it, but it's like a drift fishing for trout and salmon when they come in. Right now, they'll be fishing Saugeen River. There'll be people down in the Maitland. They'll be,
Oh, yeah,
they'll
cool.
be doing that this time
Cool.
of year for the salmonoids, trout and salmon.
Nice.
Coming in to spawn.
Oddly enough, I like ice fishing, but I don't like fishing because I feel like I have too much energy. I need to run around.
Yeah.
But ice fishing up north, there's just a different feel. I guess because you're busy, making a fire and all that on the lake or ripping
And you
on
can
the
leave
sleds.
the rod in the thing and just
Yeah, we
right?
put a little bell
Got
on
the
it.
bounce on it,
You
right?
know,
So-
yeah.
It's pretty social. Like
Yeah.
when you're in a boat, if I'm going out in a boat, I've had up to 4 kids with me in a boat, but normally I would have 1, possibly 2 people in the boat, because after that you can't really cast. If I'm drop shotting or tubing, doing stuff that's finesse that you're not doing a lot of casting with, yeah, you can put 4 people in the boat pretty easy, but you're not going to do that very often.
Oh, you're just thinking room wise, like when
Room-wise,
you're
just
whipping your
room-wise.
rod.
Yeah, you don't want people
makes
to get
sense.
hooked,
Makes
right?
sense.
So-
Yeah.
First
but
time I went, I wrapped my line around my grandpa and the hooked him right in the chest or hand or chest or something like that. I was so scared.
Yeah.
He was so tough. And I just seen it and I seen it stick in him and he stopped for a second and I froze. I'm like, this might be the end of me. Like he might throw me off this bridge. And we were down at the mine. That's
Oh,
where we were
fuck.
fishing.
Yeah.
Just along the rocks. He just pulled it out, laughed, took the line off of him, told me what I did wrong, and that was it. I was like, oh my God, thank God. Because me and my dad never did that stuff, so my grandpa took me out.
Right.
And I know if I would have cast it on my dad, I would have heard that shit.
I did it a couple times anyway. I think I got you
Did
or
ya?
something, didn't I? Yeah.
So it's like part of the learning curve almost.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Have you ever hooked anybody?
I haven't. I had a hook in my ear, in the top of my ear from a buddy. We were fishing in Teeswater when I was it was after 10 because I moved there when I was 10, 11 years old. And the worms were sitting behind him. We were sitting kind of side by side, but 10 feet away. So I walked behind him to grab a worm. And as I did that, he went to cast and his hook come back and went in the top of my ear. and hurt. Like it hurt a lot. And so we cut the line and actually ended up walking home and got home, and they ended up taking me to the hospital. And everybody, well, first they were going to try to take that out of my ear. There was no way they were doing it at home.
Yeah.
So we went to the hospital, and the nurses were laughing that hard because the worm was still in the hook.
Just sandwiched in there.
Just hanging on the hook by my ear because the hook was in my ear and the worm was still in the hook. But no, that hurt a wee bit.
Should have jumped in the water, see what you get.
Yeah.
Merman.
Get this shit.
That's neat, man. It's I hope we do get together for the spring experience there. I want to get better at all those skills. Because one day I might have to depend on that.
There's a lot of fishing around here.
Yeah, exactly right. I have so many people that get a hold of me, or they find out I live in Goderich. They're like, "Hey, yeah, you take me some of those awesome fishing spots around there." I'm like, "I know none of them."
Yeah, smile nod.
Yeah. The one's too close to my work, so I don't like going there just because it's like, ugh.
Well, to transition out of that too, like when you had cancer, that was, you said 10 years ago, roughly.
Yeah, it'll be 10 this coming summer.
Coming up. So yeah, nine or whatever. As soon as you got down to the hospital, you went fishing. Like that was a whole. So not only is it something that like you do all the time, but like I would say that that's probably something you do as just therapy for yourself. You know.
Definitely.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's been a huge part of, and even to tie that back into like myself and your own, but like into health shit that we've been dealing with, like that's got to be a staple in doing that too. You get out and you get on the water and into nature and you fucking you can fish for 12 hours.
Oh yeah,
like it's unheard of. I can't.
Yeah, dawn till dark.
Well, that's likely his ground zero. You know,
Absolutely.
like ours is the gym, right?
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
get in for a workout,
Yep. Well, that's exactly
if you get
the
in for a
parallel.
fishing ride.
Yeah. It's like if I get to go to the gym, it's a good day, and it's like the same thing for you. I find with fishing, it's just a different thing, right?
Yeah, I went to Horwood Lake last year and this year. And last year I went up with a cousin of mine, Pete Zagarotny, and Canadian Fishing Network put it on. There was 20 of us, 25 of us that were up there. And we got up at 6 o'clock. You couldn't fish really before 6, and you could fish till night at night. We got up to be on the water at 6. We fished till 8. We come back off the water from 8 till 9 and had breakfast. We actually got a lunch. We got back off the water at 5 for supper. We went back on the water and got off at 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And we did that for 4 days straight. Mm-hmm. Everybody thought we were nuts. And it's a week-long thing, but we were only there 4 days. And they had the prize was whoever caught the most points with fish. It was 1 point for bass, 2 for pike, and 3 for walleye. If you released them fish, the bass didn't matter, but I released them anyway. And I was there for 4 days, and I ended up winning it.
Nice.
Just blew them away, and and I was just going out to have fun. The last Thursday, we left Friday morning after breakfast, so we fished from 6 until 8, and then had breakfast and left. But on the Thursday, cousin Pete and I went out, and I got 57 pike. And he got 47.
Holy shit.
104
so many
pike
fish.
in one day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like the next closest person was like fucking a third of that or something like that.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nuts.
Right?
So, okay, let's scroll back to that bout with cancer there.
Yeah.
I don't want to just go over that. So what was that encounter all about?
Well, it was a fishing day that ended badly. I went up to Eugenia Lake, fished all day. We were there at 8 o'clock and fished until 8, 9 o'clock at night. And about 11 o'clock, my body wasn't feeling right. It was kind of my side, my back, whatever. And I thought, I don't know. I had a sandwich and had a drink. Felt a little better. So we fished till just about supper time, and it started feeling it again. So I had another sandwich and had a drink and felt better. Left 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, got home. It was well after dark, and getting ready to go to bed, likely 11:15 or so, and just feeling rough. And went into bed, and then all of a sudden I just couldn't move. It was just like a knife was shoved in the back of my kidney. And I just couldn't do anything. And Barb said, well, I don't go to the hospital unless I'm taking him.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I don't go to the hospital for being sick. And
Right.
she said, I need to go to the hospital. And I said, yeah, I think I do. And so we went over and got in there, and they did some blood tests, did whatever. They were keeping me. And then the doctor really wouldn't say much, but he was white. He kind of thought I knew what was going on. And so I just out and said to him, I said, what do you think it is? And he didn't want to say. He said, we're going to take tests tomorrow, doing a CT scan at Walker, and I did an ultrasound. And
So were your cell counts out and stuff?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Cell counts are supposed to be about 100.
Yeah.
They were 8.
Right.
And I just got blood work 2 weeks ago.
Whoa.
So this was weird. It was really weird.
Of heavy onset.
Quick.
Yeah, and I went and got a CT scan in Walker, and ended up I had an 8 by 18 centimeter mass between my kidney and my spine. From the bottom of my kidney, the mass was around the drains of my kidney, up to the top of my kidney and affecting the heart.
Holy
too.
shit.
Yeah.
And a mass is just
18,
what?
18 by 20.
But what is the mass?
It was a tumor.
though?
It was a
It's
tumor.
like a tumor.
It is
okay.
a tumor, yeah.
So it just grows itself. Like I don't
Yeah.
know much about
Yeah.
tumors.
This
Yeah.
was a diffuse large B-cell lymphoma is what I had. Is that what they ended up finding?
Wow. What'd you say the size was?
8 by 18 centimeters.
That's huge.
Yeah.
To be somewhere where there
At first
probably
it-
isn't any room
It's like
to
8
begin
inches.
with.
That's like 8 inches by
Yeah.
4. you
First
know?
they said the size of a football, but it wasn't football. But it was
Right.
it was actually it was big.
So it was obviously pushing on the whole area around your kidneys. That was the
Kidney,
pain
yeah.
that you were feeling.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then to the point where it just so painful you didn't even want to move.
I couldn't do anything. Yeah. It would just it was crazy.
Yeah.
So the blood test didn't see that prior, but they wouldn't.
2 weeks before that I had blood at the doctor's office.
They wouldn't know nothing about a mass though, right?
No.
No.
Until it started infecting your immune system and stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, until your blood work changes
Yeah.
and everything
Yeah.
goes to shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So that could grow and grow without affecting your blood counts till
sure.
one day it decides.
Yep. That's how a lot of times with tumors, people like if you have a brain tumor, you can just have a stroke and die. Like it,
Right.
it just gets to a point where your body like adapts, and it's like, well, we're out of room now, and you're dead.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and if you have no reason to look,
Yep. No reason to go, for sure.
what the hell? So
You
okay,
ended up having a bit of seizuring from that too, right? It was blocking off your
Yeah, it
heart
was-
somehow.
I was in the hospital for
You were
3
down in
weeks.
Kitchener.
But yeah, I was in Wingham for 3 days because they got a hold of London, and London said I wasn't serious enough sick, so they put me on a waiting list. So they got a hold of Kitchener, Grand River, and they put me. I was the next on the waiting. They were full, but I was the next one on their waiting list. So when it took 3 days, and they opened up. I had Dave and Bonnie Gamble drove us down. They didn't put me in an ambulance. They
Yeah.
find your own ride down.
what are you like pain wise? Are you still in
I'm
pain?
on I'm on pain, but I'm
Okay,
on
so it
major
hit
drugs.
and it stayed? Like it hit you and then it stayed painful?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you got an
I'm on
issue.
I'm
it
on
needs-
major drugs.
Okay, it needs
Yeah.
to be dealt with. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like I definitely needed to be dealt with, but I laughed because they said to London, they got a hold of London, and they said that I'm not sick enough to go down there, and I thought, okay, well, that's where I wanted to go. My family's a lot of families there,
Yeah.
And I said I don't care where I go. So then they got a hold of Kitchener, and
Right.
but it still took 3 days to get in there,
Right.
And then they wanted to do a bunch of tests, and every time they wanted to do them, they wanted to do biopsies and stuff. Something else happened to me. I got up the middle of the night, one night to go to the washroom, and there's 2 beds in the room, and the door's in the middle at the feet of the beds, and the washroom straight in. I was on the right-hand side. I got out of the bed, had a IV in me, so I walked into the washroom, went to the washroom, walked out of the washroom, I thought, and I walked and banged into something, and the nurse heard me. So she come in, because it's about 2 a.m, and she goes, what are you doing? I said, trying to get back in my bed. And she goes, well, you have to go to the washroom. I said, no, I already went. She said, are you trying to wash your hands? I said, no, I already did that. I'm trying to find my bed. And so she took me out and put me in the bed. And about 6:30 in the morning, I had a seizure. I was in bed and had a seizure, and it woke me up. I couldn't find the buzzer. I couldn't say anything
Yeah.
at first. And then I just hollered at the roommate, like, get the nurse. 'Cause
Yeah, push your button.
I was able to do that. So,
Yeah.
so we did do that. They come running in. Well, by the time they get in there, I was done.
Yeah.
So then they're still like, what's going on? And then they just got outside of the room, and it happened again. Well, then they were right there.
Oh, another seizure.
Yeah, another seizure. So I had 2 of them. And then they got a doctor in, and she comes in, and she's only like minutes away. She comes in, and she's holding up three fingers. She goes, how many fingers are I holding up? I said, I don't see any fingers. And she goes, what do you mean? She says, what color is my shirt? I don't see you. What do you mean? What? I don't know what color your shirt is. She asked me something else. I said, what part of you do you not understand? I can't fucking see anything.
So it's like your eyes are closed right now?
No, I was blind.
You're just blinded.
What happened was the mass took on the bottom of my kidney and choked off the drains, put the kidney into Press syndrome, which you take seizures and you go blind. And I thought,
What?
This is wild. And
The kidney does that? That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Why does it blind you? Like, I wonder what the theory is
she
behind
said-
that one.
Science.
Yep.
Yeah.
She said we have to get his blood pressure down, and
Holy
this is
shit.
what he has. and they're going to give me drugs, and he should be able to, once we get this into him, he should be able to, his eyesight will start coming back in 2 hours, and by tomorrow he'll be able to read just like nothing happened.
So it's
And
supposed to shrink?
exactly what happened. No, my blood pressure went crazy.
Yeah.
So the mass on it and the everything just
And the
happened at once.
vessels and
then that's
everything getting big.
and that's
Oh,
what
okay.
happens. Yeah.
Wow. So
yeah,
then
it
you
was
wake
wild.
up blind
Yeah. In seizures.
in seizures, but
Yeah.
you come to and you're blind.
Yeah. But didn't know that. I was worried about the seizure. All I could think is, fuck, I'm not going to be able to drive.
Yeah.
And
fuck.
and
Last year worries it, but yeah.
yeah. Well, I have a buddy said, like, how'd you deal with that? Like, I would go nuts not being able to see. And I thought, the only thing I could think of was, I'm not going to be able to fucking drive because I had seizures.
Yeah.
But right away, the doctor said, this is what it is. He needs
Yeah.
his drugs.
Yeah.
His eyesight's going to start coming back in 2 hours, and he'll be able to read tomorrow.
Holy
So I didn't
shit.
care about the blindness.
Yeah.
It's a seizure thing.
That's
But-
nuts, man.
Yeah.
You wonder where I get it from.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's whatever.
That's
And-
nuts, though.
And the cancer doctor come in, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. They're trying to do a biopsy, and they haven't been able to yet because so much stuff happened. But she kept trying to explain to me what was going on, and I said, all you need to do is tell me what I have and what you're going to do, and get me the fuck out of here because my grandkids had just moved home 3 weeks before.
Yeah.
Jen left her husband. So Marley's 5, Rowan's 2, and they were at our house.
Yeah.
So I said, I just want to get home with the grandkids.
Yeah.
And she kept saying, like, no, you don't understand. And I said, yeah, I do understand. So we had this conversation over a couple of days. And I finally said, about Bill, this is what he's went through. He had a triple bypass the day after his 8th birthday. He had the he had the SVC.
Yeah, all that shit.
When he was 9. He had all this other stuff happen. I said, as far as I'm concerned, you can tell me I'm going to die tomorrow. I don't really give a shit. Tell me what I got. Tell me how you're going to treat it, and get me the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And then she finally sat up and she looked, you do understand. I said, I understand perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, just,
Yeah, it's not that fucking complicated.
it needs to be dealt with. Tell me what I have. Tell
Yeah.
me what you're going to do, and get me out of here.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like went from there.
Yeah, and then you eventually got released, and they're like, you know,
I had my first treatment of chemo.
Yeah.
3
Okay,
weeks.
so yeah.
So I'm
How
3
did
weeks
you-
in the hospital. Have 8 different beds. They keep
Yeah,
moving,
did I
keep
not?
moving me around.
Were you not at Bill's concerts with no hair at one point?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. That's all coming back to me now. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. 'cause
So,
Bill shaved my head.
Yeah.
so
My hair was going to fall out. So I
Nice.
said, no,
Bill
it ain't.
shaved my head too before.
Yeah. The doctor said you're going to go bald in 15 to 21 days or something like that. And I said, no, it's going to happen Saturday.
yeah,
And they kind of looked and said, no, that's too soon after your treatment. I said, she never caught on that.
yeah.
Yeah,
He was shaving
he's
my
gonna
head.
shave
I
it.
came in with my hair clippers into the hospital, and I fucking trimmed it right in the room. Yeah,
Right in the room?
Yep.
Trimmed it in
Nice.
the room, put it
Nice.
all over the floor.
Yeah.
And then the nurses said, okay, just get out of here for a while and they'll come and clean it.
Yep.
So
Worked out great.
Hell yeah. Good
we were going
job.
to clean it up, but they wouldn't let us.
Good
Yep.
job.
So we went for pizza.
Did you lose all your hair?
Every hair in my body.
And it all came
That,
back?
that
like-
happened in July. And the end of November, end of last week in November, the first week in December, Barb's family has Christmas. So there's 40 of us that get together. And the only hair I had on my body was one hair on my upper lip for my mustache.
Your mom
and
cried
it
crazy.
went from underneath my nose all the way down to underneath my bottom
Holy
lip.
shit.
One long one.
One
And-
straggler just wouldn't
and
quit.
It was only one. And 3 of the guys over there are kind of cocky and like always getting something up on somebody.
Yep.
So they said, all right, we're going to hold him down and we're going to take that hair out. And I said, you guys are all going to have 2 sets of nuts that are sore trying to do that because this sucker stayed in there till it falls on its own. And it finally did fall out. But I had
It did?
one hair on my body. That was the only hair I had on my body.
I like that you protected it.
Yeah.
You gave it a chance. And,
yeah, it's gonna run the
Yeah.
course.
Like, hey, bro, you survived this long. I'm not going to do you.
I've never-
I'm not going to do you.
I've never had a razor on my upper lip. I've never shaved my upper lip.
No?
Nope.
Wild, man. So, okay. So that you get told this in the hospital. You're telling them, okay, give me the solution. Not necessarily the solution, but tell me the problem. Tell me what we're going to do about it. Let me get home. They send you home.
Yep.
Are you still in pain? Like you medicated?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
medicated.
so
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
still in a
I'm on
bad
steroids.
place. Yeah,
I'm
you're in a
on
bad
pain,
place. And what do they say about the tumor? Chemo treatments? Is that
Started-
the only solution?
Started chemo the long weekend in August, and I couldn't go home until the Tuesday. My doctor was off that weekend, and she said, after that's done, if everything's good, you have 2 tests to do Tuesday, and then after that, you could go home.
So it's like you go into the hospital, you're admitted, and you get a chemo. Like, what is a chemo shot? Is it needle?
No, yeah, it's 6 hours of fluid going into your body.
Oh, okay, so it's a 6-hour treatment.
It's like a drip, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
And
you
there's
get
5
out of
different
that.
chemicals. There's 5 different. It's called R-CHOP is what it was. So there's 5 different chemicals that they put in this chemo stuff to actually they do, and they do 6 treatments. So I started the last weekend in July, and my last treatment was the 10th of November, the day before. It was supposed to be Remembrance Day, and they did it the day before that year for the chemo.
Holy. So like 3-4 months of treatment?
From the end
How
of July
often do
until
you get treated?
every 3 weeks.
3 weeks. So you
6
did
six treatments every
You
3
did
weeks.
6 treatments of chemo.
And how many
And
times were you fishing in the middle of that? You were the first couple you were off, right?
Yeah. The first time I went out, a buddy come down and picked me up, and he never run the trolling motor in the front of his boat because every time we go out, I did. He hated the wind. Randy did. And first time we went out to Silver Lake, and he ran the trolling motor. He had a seat in the back on a stool, like a bass boat platform, and I sat on it, turned around, and put my feet up on the back motor, and just threw the line in. Once in a while, I had 4 fish, and he had 12. And not very often he beats me.
Yeah.
I do pretty good on the lake when I go out most of the time with most of my buddies, but I usually cast more than they do. So you usually should catch more if you're casting in the right place.
Right,
more
your odds
times than
should
they
be
do.
up, right?
Your odds should be up. So
how many chemo treatments till you hit the water?
I was in before I went for my second one. Yeah. I was going to go the day
That
I
was a
went
big
home.
thing. I mean, yeah, because
Yeah.
there's like you can't go fishing.
Yeah, I was going home the day I went home. But I was supposed to have 2 tests done on Tuesday, and I had a board on my wall with the 2 tests wrote in, the times they were in and everything. They were all going to be done in the morning, and I'd have lots of time to get home. And somehow the one test got canceled, and it wasn't on the board. They didn't have me booked. So they said I had to stay until Wednesday, and I said, that ain't happening. I said, I'm going home. And then they said I had to come back. I had to go home, and then I could come back Wednesday and get it done. I said, that definitely isn't happening.
Right.
I said, it is going to happen. I'm getting both these tests today. It's on my fucking board right there. You guys wrote it on there. I don't care what they did downstairs. And so they actually did the one test, took me back up to the room. We're still arguing about this. And they said, the only way you can have that test if I go downstairs where it gets done, a scan, and sit there all day until they have to do it. I got on to bed and said, okay, let's go. Well, you can't go right now. I said, you just told me. I said, let's go. Well, we have to do, I said, let's go. So I went down to the magazine and an iPad and waited for 5 hours. And then they got me in, did the test. And I didn't even have a room when I got back up there. They put me into a chair in a visiting room.
No.
With all my stuff from my room.
No way.
You're out.
Yeah.
You're out?
Yeah, I'm out. And,
You're in a
and
chair with your shit?
I'm in my chair, in
The
a chair in a
fuck?
visiting room, like it's where everybody could go and visit people in the ward. And they said, yeah, you were going home, but you're not discharged yet. But we needed your room, and I thought, well, I don't care. Like I'm going home, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Like so then they finally got their stuff done, and
Wow.
I was sent home.
And then the next day you went fishing?
Nope. The
Couple?
next day there was something wrong, and I think it was the day after
Yeah,
that.
I
I
think
was
it was-
going that day. Then it was going to be the next day, and then it didn't end up being until the
Yep.
next day. But yeah,
So you
was out.
destroyed this thing with the chemo treatments?
yeah.
Or shrunk it, or-
it ended up going from 8 by 18 down to it was 3 something by 5 something. But after the chemo, and then I went for radiation the next March and April. It went down to 1.7 by 3.5.
Nice.
And it's supposed to be dead, but
Nice.
it won't. That's a size. It's just in there.
Yeah.
Right, right. It
but
shriveled
it
to that
shouldn't-
little peanut. Now that's all.
Yeah.
That's all that's left of her. But it
shouldn't-
shouldn't push on anything.
It shouldn't do anything else.
Right? Hell yeah, that's good.
They,
From what
they
yeah.
washed it for 5 years. I had different scans to check it and do whatever. So
Yeah.
they.
And still dormant. Just
I haven't seen
not
anybody.
dormant, but I
Yeah.
mean not
Just chilling.
not active or anything.
I haven't seen anybody since. Yeah,
Awesome.
after 5 years, they
Awesome.
just said, "You're out." I said, "All right, nice to know you, but I hope I never see you again."
Yeah, no
And she
kidding.
was saying the same. Excellent doctor.
Sweet.
Excellent doctor from.
I think,
Dr.
like I
Kim.
remember when I went down to see you, I'm pretty sure at that time they gave you like a 15% chance of living.
Yeah.
You had, I think it was from, I only remember stage 4 lymphoma as what it was diagnosed as, because the other one I didn't remember the name, but those are the two things that were in my memory anyways, was stage 4 lymphoma and you're probably not going home. You're like, okay, well, we'll figure it out. Because I went to visit in Kitchener the one day, and then we talked a bit or whatever. And you're like, I don't know, we'll see what happens. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Yep. But
I remember when all this was going
Yeah.
on. It seems like it wasn't that long ago, which is
No.
weird that when you're saying like
10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it'll be
like, holy shit.
Yeah, this July will be 10 years. It's 9 years now.
So when you're coming out of that, like something that I find in other people anyways, you come out of that, you get home, everything is cool, you're cleared or whatever. So even say at Christmas time or in the spring the next year, like, are you scared about coming back? Like, because that's something I find is common. People are like, well, fuck, now how do you live your life now that you get, 15% chance to live, you got this cancer thing, it's the size of your whole torso, and now you go home and everything's cool. It's like, all right, well, how do you sleep with that? Did you ever have any trouble
Pretty
with that? Yeah. But
No.
right.
No, because it was more when they were talking about everything. They got the biopsy back, and actually it was a level 3. It was stage 3, not 4.
Okay.
And they said what was going on and my odds and everything else, but they had a book that was the size of an encyclopedia, and they said, "You need to read this. This is the cancer stuff." And I just laughed and said, "I ain't reading that." They said, "No, you have to." I said, "I'm not reading it." So then I said, "What do I have?" They told me, and there was 2 half pages in this book that was the lymphoma I had.
Yeah.
So I opened them up. I read that, about 3 paragraphs. I read that. And I said, closed it up. And I said, "You can take that back. I don't need it anymore." And they said, "No, you need to read that." I said, "I just read what I have.
What concerns you.
I'm not reading anything else."
Yeah.
And then they said, whatever. And Barb was taking the book then. She wasn't letting them have it. She wanted to read.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because she read a lot. Likely everything she could find that was related to it, she read. And I didn't read anything.
Yeah.
Them 2 paragraphs, all I read.
Yeah.
And then they had a DVD they gave me. I sat and listened to it. It was 45 minutes. I sat and listened to it, which, whatever, I just kind of threw it aside and I didn't touch that again. But the doctors went on about a few things, and I just kind of like, what are you going to do? So they said, okay, they're going to do the chemo. And then they said, and if that doesn't work, then we're going to do radiation. And then they said, if that doesn't work, then we're going to do, and there was 5 steps. And I said, okay, wait a minute. I don't even want to know about them because they're going to explain all 5 steps. And I said, what are we starting with? And they said, chemo. I said, all right, that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
How long is it going to be? It's going to be every 3 weeks, 6 treatments.
Yeah.
Good. No, we have to tell you all this other stuff. I said, no, I don't want to know. Because you just told me if this works, I don't need that. If this don't work, I need this. But if this works, I don't need the other 3. I don't want to know about anything else until I know that this don't work.
So
And so they didn't tell me.
who taught you to think like this?
Me,
You.
I don't know. Yeah, that's just been dealing with Bill for how many years?
Right. That's kind of
Like-
what I was getting at. It's like, it's almost like dealing with Muscle Bill or prior. I don't know. Like,
No,
this
like
might be
Muscle
just
Bill.
ingrained with you, but
Yeah.
it might have helped your situation, just how you reacted with everything. Like, okay, no,
Oh, yeah.
lady, I know this rodeo. What's up? Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Need out of here. I know you might kick me out to a chair anyways in half hour when I go for a piss.
Because the underlying message there is, if this test is done, I'm leaving. So you could send me back to a fucking closet. I don't care because it means I'm going home.
Right.
It don't
Yeah.
matter. You can
Yeah.
give me 12 more blood tests. I don't give a fuck. Right. It's because overall we're going home today sick. Everything else don't matter anymore. Right.
Big-
Yeah, it's like,
Big thing that started day one with Bill. We went down to London, and the guy was an asshole. He had no personality at all. He said, Bill has, I don't even know, because it was a 5-minute explanation about what he had with the words of hypercholesteremia and all the rest. And then he says, one sentence, he has that, and then he should live to be 3 to 10. Heart and a liver transplant would be a cure. And he went on and on and on. And if I could have stood up, I either would have hit him or I would have just choked him out.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. So the guy was an asshole. But then we went to Sick Kids, and they had this plasma exchange. So it was totally different. And he got on to plasma exchange every 2 weeks.
that's what started
From,
that.
Yeah.
from when he was 17 months till he was the year he was going to be 8. And then he went every week from 8 to 16 in London. And then we got pissed off with the politics down there, not the hospital. They hired a unit to come in and do the stuff, and you were more or less a number. So the hospital wasn't doing it. They were hiring in another
Third party.
third party. And it just wasn't working out. So I was that mad the last time we were down there. I just said, all right, we're driving to London to find out what's going down there. So we left the hospital at Sick Kids after his treatment, drove to London, not knowing where we were going.
Yeah.
Just find the
But
place.
we knew the albumin all came from the Red Cross.
Yeah.
So I just went to Red Cross in London. This is who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Hello.
people are in there giving blood. They're doing their thing. And I just
Yeah.
walked in and they said, "Oh, what's your name?" And I said, "Yeah, it doesn't matter." I said, "I want to know about this plasma exchange." And they said, "What do you mean? Like, we don't do that." And I said, "No, but you supply the stuff to the people that do." He's getting done in London or in Toronto. I'm switching to London. We're done with down there. So I need to know. And they said, "Oh, well, you need to go in here and talk to Dr.
Clark. Yeah.
Who ends up being the guy who was in charge of the water crisis
Awesome.
up here."
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor.
So we went in and talked to him, and he said, "Well, we can't do him because we don't do the pediatric care. Don't care. We have awesome pediatric care at Sick Kids. We'll keep doing that. We'll just get the treatment down here." Oh, we can do that. So then it just kind of snowballed
Nice.
from there.
Nice.
But,
You had a good hookup there.
Yeah, and he was great. He and like day one, and then he set me up with a cardiologist and my endocrinologist. Who like it was like, all right,
Bang, bang,
you're
bang,
our
bang.
patient. This is what we're gonna do with you right now. And it was like bang, 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 and like new appointments, new doctors, new everything, and like
Nice.
they're the best of the fucking
Getting
best.
roll.
Like yeah. And meanwhile, like Dr. Hagley's known of my case since I was pretty much born. Like as soon as I was diagnosed in Toronto, I was on his radar.
Right.
And then he's followed me all along. And then in London,
insane,
17
man.
years later, I meet him, and he's like, "Oh, hey, whatever," meets my case. And
You're a
meanwhile,
case study of his.
I had no idea that he's known of me for 15 years. He's
And-
like, "I know you."
he actually went downtown London and went to one of his fucking
Yeah,
shows.
he came down to the
come
Salt
down to
Lounge.
Yeah.
This dive bar in London at the Salt
No
Lounge.
way.
Fucking
Yeah.
11 o'clock
Yeah.
on a Friday night.
And-
Watches my band play.
And two nurses.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
those shows, like for the people listening, those shows are hardcore because I've been
Yeah.
to one of Muscle Bill's shows, and you were there
Have you
actually.
been? Well, I've
forget
been,
it was
but I don't know how
music
many.
hall or something.
Yeah.
And we were the only two dudes just kind of standing there. Everyone else is like hardcore fucking rockers, right? Heavy
Yeah.
metal. Oh, it was quite the show, man. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was intense.
Yeah, but like that, I guess probably to go back, like dealing with my shit for 25 years or 20 years at that time.
Well-
Taking in information is a whole different thing when you've been taking in information for 20 years.
And back to you again from years ago, starting school. Schools don't know anything. So we
Yeah.
actually went in and taught them first aid for his
Oh,
central
yeah.
line.
Yeah.
We
Every
went to
year.
the fire department because if something happens in town, you phone 911, the fire department ends up there. Well, the fire department never seen a line. So we went in and showed the firemen at a meeting what you need to do for first aid.
If you ever get a
every year.
call for Bill Elliott, this is what you need to do for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
so what exactly was the major concern there?
The central line first aid, basically. It's a plastic tube coming out of my chest. And
You
if it
had
got-
one at the time?
Yeah, I had it for 17 years.
You still do?
No, I
okay.
I had it until I was 19.
Okay, that's
But
what I
up
don't
until
know about.
then,
All right.
if it gets pulled down or it gets cut off or
Yeah.
whatever, like I was on blood thinners. So if
Blood's
it gets
coming
pulled out, you're having a hell of a mess, and it's arterial blood pressure coming off the jugular.
Yeah,
So
arterial bleed.
yeah.
Okay, so you actually had a unit sticking out of you?
I had a
Yep.
tube. Yeah, I'll show you some. I've got scars all over my chest from plastic.
And where'd the
tubes
tube go
bumping
to?
out. Up my neck, down into my heart.
Oh, so it was
Yep.
inside you. Nothing
Oh,
exposed.
yeah.
The end
Oh,
of
no,
it was
it
hanging
came
out
out.
probably
And got
10
taped to his
inches.
belly.
Yep.
And you taped it to you.
Yeah. I had it till I was
Oh,
19.
damn.
Yeah, man. That's why I never learned
How
to
do you
swim.
go to kindergarten with that? With a whole bunch of kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had that at that age?
Yep.
It started
Yeah.
then?
All through.
Yeah.
17
Before
months
that.
old. Yep.
Yeah.
Could you even go in the water with that?
No, that's why I never learned.
He had swimming
I had to
lessons.
stay sterile.
Swimming lessons 1 year because he didn't have that line because of health things. So
Yeah.
they took the line out.
Damn.
And he had
Yep.
swimming lessons for 1 year.
Well, damn. I
So, yeah,
thought
we
we were on
trained-
the same
But they
level,
didn't
but
work.
you have a real excuse now.
Yeah, I couldn't go in the. I didn't
Why,
go in the water.
why
once.
we're at the same swimming level?
Yeah,
I just suck. You weren't allowed in.
yeah. As I was 19, I went
Wow.
with my cousin to Silver Lake with a life jacket on. I'm like, "How do we do this swimming thing?" And he's like, "Oh, just fall over. You should float." And it did not float.
Crazy,
sunk to the
man.
bottom.
So that's
Yeah.
why
With a
jumping
life
in the
jacket on.
water was so crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't go in, so I didn't know what it was like.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
But I took him canoeing. Started when he was 2.
Yeah. And that,
Every year,
I
multiple
remember we
times.
flushed my line at camping and shit. It was no problem. Sterile. Everyone's like, you can't do that
What?
because it's
Nurses-
got to stay sterile.
Yeah, nurses
like
freaked.
it's sterile. We got water.
You
we got
flushed
the
your
sterile soap.
line?
Yeah, I've been
Had to
dealing with
flush that
needles
line
since
every
I
day.
was like 4 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. We flushed his line.
Yep.
His grandma actually taught him how to do it before he went to school.
My Nana was a nurse, so we used to go to their house for visits all the time. And every morning we'd flush my line, and I had the glass pop top heparin bottles and needles, and
Damn.
I was pulling all my own shit when I was 4 or 5. Yeah. So I've been doing it all along.
So do you think naturally, like I see you as I don't know how to describe it, like hard person, like give me the facts. I don't care about the bullshit. Tell me what's up. I'm going to deal with this. End of story.
Let's
Okay.
go.
I like a real, hard. I like that attitude. Did you develop that, or do you think you always had that? Like a parent, or dealing with everything
Sick kids.
with sick kids? So this is something you've built, and then Muscle Bill's learned it from you, obviously, because it's just funny seeing your mannerisms. It just reminds me so much about Muscle Bill.
Yeah.
But Muscle Bill must be a half and half, because you're intense, man. I can see when Muscle Bill gets like a little testy and aggressive, like your side comes out. Like you're a hardcore dude, man. I can feel, like I can sense vibes. I feel like you'd be one of those guys. You're all smiles and shit, but like when it comes down to business,
Bar fights once upon a time, eh? Yeah.
Choke counts.
I just sense it. I got that feeling.
Yeah.
But that's cool. That so you think sick kids.
We had an incident down at Sick Kids that betadine that was actually used for cleaning Bill's skin, the areas for the injection, whatever.
Yeah.
They did that, but they also use that in surgeries. So we went through 3 different times. He had a burn underneath his arm, and it wasn't good. And we kind of let them know that. And then they burned him again, and it went from his armpit on his arm and his side down to his elbow, go across the elbow, up the other side of the arm, on the arm and the
A
side.
chemical burn?
Yeah. It's an
chemical burn.
antiseptic burn, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
There was so much on there that it pooled, and what it does is it heats and cleans. So it pooled in there, and it burned his skin.
Yep.
So this happened twice, and the one time was bad. So they flagged his chart and everything, and this wasn't to happen again. It happened again.
Yeah.
Well, now they're worried about getting sued.
Yeah.
So, and I'm trying to find out information, and they're not telling me anything. So I finally got a hold of the right person at the hospital. But when we were talking, and the doctor was there, and this is something that, like, Bruce County boys, Huron County boys, they're all the same. And I said, I'm from Bruce County, and you don't have to worry about getting sued, but you might have to worry about getting fucking hit, because I'm fucking mad. I want to know why this happened, what happened, and what you're doing about it, because it fucking well better not happen again.
Yeah.
And it didn't.
Nice.
Plus a few doctors we ran into
Yeah.
were,
They don't know how to do shit.
yeah. And a doctor was told, well, we're maybe going to do this, and he decided he was going to do it. But there's the head doctor with 2 below, with teams below them, and the 2 below, the one other doctor come in at the same level of that doctor and said, hey, we've changed our mind. We're not doing that. We're going to do this. And he did it anyway, and wasn't supposed to.
Yeah. I lost my
that-
mind. Yeah.
Yeah, we lost.
Yeah.
Bill lost his line,
Yeah.
and I said to them too. I said, like, he was on loan to Sick Kids from New York, and I said, you're going to get punched in the mouth, and you ain't going to be in here. You're going back to New York.
Yeah.
And we never seen that guy again.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He ended
It was
his
just-
trip early.
It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
but
But
and
for
then-
me, like, cost, like, my line, I don't know if it got infected or whatever, or it got clotted.
Clotted.
Because we ran into it all the time. You have to flush with saline and then flush with heparin, and heparin is a blood thinner that doesn't allow a blood clot to form. But if you flush with heparin first and then flush with saline isn't an anticoagulant. So a blood clot forms, and then you're fucked.
Oh.
And that's what ended up happening. And the guy's like, I don't know how many doctors I caught flushing it wrong. They put the heparin in, draw up the saline, and they go to put it in my line. I'm like, what are you doing?
I caught.
Yeah,
I caught. I
you
caught,
did. We
I
both,
caught the
yeah.
once when you were about
Yeah.
7 or 8.
Exactly.
He was getting a radioactive linogram done, and we were outside, like, we were waiting, and they all called him in. So Barb was there, and I said, I'm going in. They said he couldn't, so we got into a big argument, and I said, no, I'm going in. And they said, well, because of this, and if you have, for kids and for that and for everything else, I said, I honestly don't give a shit. He's going in there. He's getting all this radiation shit in him.
Yeah.
I don't plan on having any more kids. So you do whatever you have to do, because you don't have big enough security to get me out of here.
Yeah.
And they let me in there.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, the doctor put the heparin in first. And before I could say anything, he had the heparin in. And the heparin is a smaller needle
Yeah.
than the saline. So I saw him put it in and start pushing it. Well, it's too late. And I said, hey, that's wrong. And he goes, no, I have to put the heparin in, but I have to flush it with saline. And I said, no, you're backwards. Saline goes in first, then you put the heparin in and actually leave it there. So him and I got into an argument. And then he looked over to the nurse, which was right beside him, and said, can you explain to him? And she goes, no, he's right. I said, you're fucking right. I flush his line every day. Like Barb and I flushed his line every day.
Right.
Doing it for you.
So,
Both of you must have ran into this several times because you're such a unique case that unless they're specific to your case, like that doctor that's been following you forever, you probably run into hard times trying to explain them that you know more than they know on this subject.
Well, the girl last summer in the ICU with the dietary shit, like fucking snap. She's a student, resident or whatever. And I just told her, you need to get the fuck out of my sight.
Is that the potassium thing?
No.
When you had to eat 4,500 bananas a day?
Wow, that's a different one. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, she's like, oh, you don't understand what's happening here. I'm like, you need to get the fuck out of here because you don't have any idea what you're talking about. Like, this little 25-year-old girl, you know? I'm like, get out of here.
So until you were the age to do that, you would have had to been following that like crazy.
Absolutely.
And that's why you knew, I'm going in.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care what you guys are saying. Like,
the only place I wasn't in sick kids was in OR.
OR, yeah.
I was in any tests they were doing.
What's OR?
Operating room.
Oh, okay.
It's the only test.
Full scrub.
I don't think anybody goes in there, right?
And I made it into Wingham when they were dicking around with your line, and they said I couldn't go in there, and I went in anyway.
Yeah.
And they put me on my ass.
They put you on your ass?
No, that did. Just watching, they had a knife underneath the skin, and it was going underneath the skin round to cut. And
oh my God!
And I
just passed out. Oh, of course.
I didn't pass out, but I went on my ass.
I
was on the floor, and they just kind of, you're on your own. I pushed my thumb or my knuckles back to get my back against the wall.
Just chilled out.
That's where I sat
because that's your risk, right? They told you don't come in. You come in, you pass out.
Yeah.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah.
Man, so how was it? How was it in reverse then, Muscle Bill?
What's that?
Like when your dad was going through that stuff to be tables turned. Like what kind of feelings were going in your head?
I don't know. Like it was. I think that it was less of a big news to me than it was to like my brother and sister. You know, because I've been dealing with that forever, firsthand for me. So it's especially when I went in to visit with you and like you were calm and you're like, well, I thought at 25 there's no fucking way I'm going to make it to 50, and here I am at 50 and got cancer, so I'm doing pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, oh, we'll see what happens. I'm like, yep, that makes sense.
Nice.
And then it's like, all right, fist bump. I'll shave your head next weekend. See you later.
Sick.
You know? So not to say I wasn't worried, because I was, but like cancer's obviously a scary thing, but it's like, all right, well, when I was 2-3 years old, my parents both got told I was going to die. And here I am fucking 32 years later.
Yep.
Well, we're still kicking. So dad gets told, well, you might die. He's like, well, yeah, we'll see about that.
So you were able to think rationally even when, because sometimes it's easier to deal with yourself
for sure,
rather than, I know it's like that for me, right?
Yep.
Like if my father's suffering for something, I'd have a harder time accepting that than if it was
well,
me,
and to fast forward, this year was a big eye opener for me too, because you had a brain bleed back in April. Yep. And like, we can touch on that in a little bit, but when he got home, I remember you did like 1,500 steps and then like 3,000 and then like 5 and then 6,000 and then you're fucked for a day. Like you could hardly get out of bed. And I remember we sat at supper time, like, well, you're going to have to like chill out. Like you can't push yourself all the time because you'll just crash right after. And like you looked, you're like, it's not in my fucking genes to do that. So it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And
Red line, fixed the end.
But yeah, and then a big light bulb for my brain went off. I'm like, right. No, that makes sense. Obviously you're not going to do that. So it was a big shift in my gear this spring, sorry. Like, yeah, obviously dad's just going to push and then eventually time's up. So like, I get that. Yeah. And the worry went away. I'm like, yeah, so we're good.
Good. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been neat to, obviously I like it better when it's myself because I don't mind, but like I was able to sit and talk with mom and relatively level headed, you know, it's like, all right, well, what's the information we're getting from the doctor? And fortunately, I have some nurse friends too, so like I could relay that back and be like, "Hey, this is what's up. Like, where are we at? What, like, obviously, unprofessional opinion, right?
It's probably great for your mom to have too another rational mind,
just a sounding board. You know, it's like, all right, this is bad. Dad, you got to rush to emerge and whatever. It's like, well, but is he alive? All right, good.
Is she like you guys, or is she more emotional, or yeah?
I'm not going to comment on that one. She might listen to this.
She can be, for sure. Yeah. Like
she's
when
a
Dad,
sweetheart.
In this spring, Mom and I had some really straightforward, to the point conversations, like about facts that weren't good to hear.
Yeah.
But like they went smoothly. It's like right now is not the time to be emotional. And that's something that is common across all of us, I believe. Like there is absolutely a time and a place, and Mom is better at accessing those times and places than say I am, and I'm probably you too. But
that's
when it's all happening, it's very much. I talked to Mom the other night, and she's like, "Well, at one point, they told her I was going to get a tracheotomy, so they're going to put a tube in my neck and whatever." And like, she's like, "Oh, they took me in this little room and this little closet thing, and they're surrounding me with people, and they're like, so we're going to give your son a tracheotomy." And she was like, "Okay." And then they're like, "But we're going to do this." And she's like, "Right." And they expected me to break down, and they're like, "It's okay." She's like, "First of all, your nurse out there already had a tracheotomy. She already had a tube in her throat, and she's your nurse helping you." So I'm like, "Yeah, okay, fair enough. Let's do that."
Yeah.
And it's not that scary, right? So in the moment, we've all been, I guess, conditioned in that sense where it's like, do the thing that needs to get done. And this is a message I've all forever. It's like, whatever is required is what I will do. And whatever it takes is how much it takes. There's no like, we're going to stop halfway and, this sucks and whatever. It's like, it all can suck and it all can be awful. But if this is what needs to be done, then let's fucking do it and see where we land.
Moving regardless.
Yeah, with my blood work when I was a kid, like hold him down, and I never fucking moved once. You know, it's like you got to put needles in my arm. It sucks a lot, but
this is what needs to be done.
Get it done and get it out, and don't fucking miss.
Yeah. If I want to see tomorrow, I need to do this shit part.
Right. So I don't know. I like that mentality a lot, but it's absolutely formed me for sure.
Did you ever have a time where you weren't feeling so? I guess strong emotionally? Was there ever a time where Muscle Bill was going through some shit and you really hit a dark spot? And if you did, what threw you out of that? 'Cause it had to have been
I punched a windshield out.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, like that would be.
Do you remember what that was from? I don't remember what it would have been.
Superior vena cava.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So I was 9.
Yeah. Driving a vehicle. Had 2 beers before that. Just nothing. I don't know. Everything just got on me, and I just got mad and
Smash.
Arm swung, and
I love your style.
Windshield was gone.
I love your style.
Yeah.
A bird hit it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, it's
kinda
like I've always, that's the hardest part for me to think about. It always has been. It's like, I don't know how the fuck 2 26-year-old people here, your son's probably going to die. Here's some weird treatment that's never really happened yet. So good luck with that. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But here we are. Like, you fucking power through, you get it done, you raise me up. I'm gone through all this other shit, and you have too. And like, that's the part that I find difficult is not that I've gone through it. It's like, I don't know how you guys have gone through it. Because like from a third party perspective, it's like it's fucking blowing
that's
my
what
mind.
I mean. Like in my head, I'm thinking like I see how like collective you are and everything. But I'm like, there had to have been a time where you're just a disaster. I know I would have been
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like that's a lot to take in.
But I don't know the way. It's just something that was with me when everything was going on. Is it doesn't matter what you're talking about. Once you know what's going on, what happened, how you got there, what they're going to do about it, there's nothing you can do about it. So you just have to say, get it done.
Yeah.
You can't. If you throw the emotion shit into it, I'm going to kill people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Seriously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
So no, it's like when it was with me with the cancer, it was tell me what I got, tell me what you're going to do, get me the fuck out of this place. I want to go home and see my grandkids.
Yeah.
And it was huge having the grandkids at home that time. Because when you got there, you got a 2-year-old, like I'm on the bed, I'm on the couch trying to watch TV or trying to sleep. And all of a sudden there's a 2-year-old granddaughter jumped on my chest.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're like, oh, fuck. Like, what do you, well, you can't get mad.
No.
So, well, then you go upstairs to go to bed and go to sleep. Well, you don't want to go upstairs because it's going to kill you. Like, it's going to take all your energy.
Yeah.
But, well, you either did that or you laid on the couch and let the 2-year-old jump on you again because it's going to happen.
Yep.
I wonder how much more of a benefit it is when you get out of that hospital bed. Let's say you were stuck there, in comparison to going home and seeing your grandkids and seeing why you want to get through this. You know what I mean? Like that's got to have so many benefits that we don't know of.
I was there for 3 weeks, and I was in
hospital.
Yeah, between Wingham and Kitchener when I first went in before they did my first treatment. I was there for 3 weeks in 8 different beds. I don't know how many different wards. And when we first got down there, we were in a room with 6 beds that anybody who had surgery went in there and they just kind of did post-op stuff. And then from there you went home. So when we were in there, we were in the weekend. And then the nurse came in on Monday and kind of looked at me, and they didn't really say that we could to us, but it was implied that we were in her beds. And there was 3 of us in there still out of the 6. And then it was said once more. I said, "Excuse me, we're not in your fucking beds." It was a guy who was seriously hurt, another guy that had a hip replaced. I thought, this is the beds that they had in the hospital when we got down here, and we're leaving as soon as they fucking say they got a room for us. This is where they put us, so this is our fucking beds.
Yeah.
And the attitude changed real quick after that. It was just kind of like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you
shouldn't have said that
like,
long or hard enough loud enough that he could hear me. But I thought, no, like we don't want to fucking be here.
Yeah, no
this is
kidding,
what we're going
right?
through.
Yeah.
And
tensions would be high, in that
definitely.
kind of atmosphere. I mean, it's not the place to mess around.
But the first weekend when I was in there, the first week I ended up in the hospital, I got down to Kitchener, and boss, Dick Ireland, said, "What do you want?" Because I was a supervisor at the time. And I said, "I want my computer." I had a laptop. And he goes, "Done." So beelined her down there and got me my computer.
Nice.
So at the same time, the granddaughters were home. Jen was home. They were doing soccer. And at the soccer practice, whatever, game practice, I think it was practice, somebody said that I had a football-sized growth on the side of my neck. I actually had a heart attack. I had stage
these are
4.
the
I had
rumors?
stage 4 cancer. So that was the 3 things. And they're asking Jennifer, with a 5 and a 2-year-old, and they hear this, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought, I need my computer. So Dick run it down, and so I on the computer, and I have a blog. I had Facebook was after that, but I had my own blog.
Yeah.
So or I guess I was on Facebook then
Why
too,
your own
maybe
blog?
for a couple
Like a
years.
fishing blog?
Fishing
Oh, okay,
that I just
right.
did for shits and giggles years
Yeah.
ago, and I had it. So I started putting everything that happened every day on that blog. Didn't matter what it was. Everything that happened went onto that blog and got shared everywhere.
Yeah.
And but when that soccer thing happened, I said, I don't know who the fuck is spreading rumors, but we're going to end this right now. I said, my doctor don't know what fucking stage I have. I definitely didn't have a fucking heart attack, and I don't have a growth in my fucking neck. The 18 by 18 or 8 by 18 centimeters is a growth that's in my chest, not on my neck.
Yeah.
So this bullshit's got to stop, because if it don't, when I get out of the hospital, you're going to fucking wish it did.
Yeah.
And then that got back to the cozy, and because that cozy, everybody went to the cozy and shot the shit. So that got back there, and then it got out in the line, and then the rumors just quit.
Right.
Because they knew that when I got out,
Yeah.
there would be something serious happen.
Yeah, well, that's not good for the
Anybody.
grandkids to
No.
hear and stuff.
No.
But on the upside of that, though, you sharing all of that, everybody saw that. So, like, other people benefited from seeing that, because it's like,
Yeah.
I don't have to go through this by myself, and that's something.
And I think that's where that came from for you talking.
Absolutely.
Because when I put everything on there, I had nurses coming in, like community nurses, because
Yeah.
they were doing
Yeah.
stuff with the cancer stuff. I had to have shots. I had all
like
kinds of stuff had
CCAC
to happen.
and that kind of shit. Yeah.
And
Damn, so your dad
Some-
did this dance.
yeah, so
He
some
did all
of these
social media. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Man.
some of
I
these
didn't know
nurses
that.
come in and they're just here off and on.
Yeah.
And that stuff's still out there, because I just looked at it again yesterday. And they come in and they're talking to me and stuff, and they said, "Oh, you're that guy." And I had it happen twice, and I kind of like, "What do you mean, that guy?" Well, their patients throughout the county had heard about this guy who had cancer and was putting everything it online.
Yeah.
Every treatment they had, anything that
Yeah.
happened at all is what I had online.
People would be interested.
And they were. They said all these people that
Yeah.
like they said, well, like these people are really reading what you're doing, like what you're saying, what you're putting out there, and you're helping them. And I go, oh,
Yep.
It's
bonus,
fun.
because that's
Yeah.
not what I did it for.
Right.
But sure, bonus.
You're
Is it
clearing
just
the
kinda-
air, right? That was your initial reason
I
for
was
it?
clearing the air,
Yeah.
and I
Stop
did.
talking shit.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
after that, myself, or I think Jen more than anybody, actually put all the information on it, everything that happened to me in the hospital. It didn't matter what it was. It went online.
That's neat, man. So,
So-
that started with that, and you obviously seen that.
I never connected that dot before. Like, I know that that's what Dad did. Absolutely.
But like
Yeah.
subconsciously,
Similar,
it must
yeah.
have been built in you, but you're still
Yeah.
blocking that because you seen it as like a pity thing. You didn't want people to have
it wasn't
pity
only
for
that.
you,
I
right?
was experiencing it that way, right? When you tell someone face to face, so let's say the cancer example for you, it's like, this is what you got. These are your odds. This is the thing. It's looking bad. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Most people can't take that information in because I feel strongly that when I take it in, and likely when you take it in, we're operating in rational mind. Give me information. What the fuck is happening? That's it. No emotion involved.
Yeah.
Most people, when they hear that type of information, they're in emotional mind right away.
Right.
It's fear response. Holy shit, bad odds, bad this, all this, 5 stages, what? I don't know what's going on. They're fucked. So they spiral out.
Yeah.
And it's like, when, in my experience, it's like, all right, well, what happened to your arm? It's like, well, that's a fistula. What's the fistula for? Well, I need it for treatment. What's the treatment for? We go down 20 questions, and you see the fear in people's faces, like, oh my God, I don't know how you deal with that. It's like, I get sick of seeing that fear. It's like, don't be scared for me.
Right.
You have nothing to be scared about. And arguably scared sometimes, but for the most part, I'm not a scared person, and I'm the one that's going to die.
Yeah.
So don't give me that look, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's where that came from for me. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
For a long time.
But I think probably a lot of it is actually just concern for you, right?
Which it comes from a place of care. I understand,
Right.
but it's still
you're done
draining
with
on
it.
me.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like, I don't need your emotions right now.
Yeah.
I already dealt with mine.
Yeah.
Right. So it took me a long time to get through that and get to a point where I'm like, okay, now I am ready to accept those things and deal with that on an energy level.
Yeah.
I can take that on and I can deal with that. And like, I understand you're going to probably be scared, but you don't need to be. And it's like, so therefore then other people that hear that, it's like, right, we can take all this in and still function as a fucking human being, you know?
I get you.
Which is something that some people they can't do, you know, or they don't know that they can yet.
Right.
Right.
And I see what you're saying there big time now, actually. I see it a little differently because you've already set the emotional part aside, but the people bringing that back to you would be hard to keep that away. You know what I mean?
It's always
it's
knocking
almost
on
like
the
they're trying to throw emotion at you. You're like, nah, I got this.
It's like, if you had any idea how many fucking barricades I have on that door just to function, you would stop kicking on the door. Right. But they don't see that, and they don't expect them to see that. So that's something I had to deal with on my own to get to a point where I'm like, this is what's probably going to happen. And that's cool. Right. Instead of getting angry and being like, don't be a fucking asshole to me. Like, you don't even know that you're being a dick, but you're being a dick. You know? So that was a hard thing for me to get to. And like, fast forward the years, it's like, all right, well, I had more things happen to me and whatever. It's like, all right, now I'm in a place where more people are finding it more beneficial versus just being scared.
Right.
It's like, this is actually being helpful now. And so it's a shift of gears.
Right.
You know? Whereas with you, it was right away bullshit related, like stop fucking spreading rumors. And then as a proxy of that, everyone's like, this is awesome to hear about all your story. Like, you're sharing everything. That, like, I wouldn't share that because it's scary and whatever, but it's just inspiring, you know?
Yeah.
So,
well, even the first day I got home, I walked into the cozy and everybody just turned their head and looked and thought, oh, fuck. And went in and sat down. And I always walked in, headed to the cooler, grabbed a bottle of Diet Coke and sat down. So I went in and I sat down, and the waitress come out, and everybody's kind of sitting around. And I looked up and I said, where the fuck's my pop? Oh, shit, you always get your own. I thought, I'm fucking sick. I just got out of the hospital. Fuck, I was going to die. Where the fuck's my pop? So she runs to get my pop. And then I start laughing. Well, then everybody just kind of, I was going to be there for like 20 minutes. And I was there for 3.5 hours. Barb was worried like shit because I just said, I'm walking up to the cozy to have a pop. I'll be back in 20 minutes. And I didn't. But every time I was going to leave, somebody else come in and they wanted to know what was going on. So I just told everybody. Like the one day I walked into the cozy, there was a whole bunch of people and they wanted like, what's going on? I just said, oh, just so everybody knows. And I just said it. So everybody heard it, right? I'm not going to tell you 15 times. You're all going to hear it at once.
Small town behavior, eh? Listen, everybody in this establishment.
But you wonder where I get the efficiency thing from. It's like I can tell 30 people individually and be tired as hell. Or just sit in one place and we're all going to do it together.
Walk in the door. Oh, I'm here and this is what happened. So they just carry on. But
the elephant in the room is no longer there.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You two
Yeah.
are very alike. It's hilarious.
Well, when I come out of the
It's
hospital,
really funny.
they said it was early August. We had the fair at the end of August. They said I couldn't go to couldn't go to the restaurants. You're not supposed to go. You're supposed to avoid people.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to go to crowds. You're not supposed to go to the fair. You're not supposed to this. I went to the restaurant every day. I went to the fair every day. I was in amongst all the people. I watched the shit that was going on that I could, and I sat down on a grandstand, did whatever. I didn't stand all the time. I just did what I wanted to. But everything they told me I couldn't do, I did do. It was just kind of like, but it was kind of not saying that everybody should do that, because you could get really sick.
Yeah.
And I ended up in the hospital with
Yeah.
an infection, but it was because the toenail got infected, and I was in the hospital for 3 days. When I got in there, they said, when anybody comes in here, I had to gown up and glove up and mask up and do everything. And I kind of laughed. I said, no, I don't. That's our policy. So your policy's changing. So there's nobody coming into this room until you mask up, you glove up, and you put a gown on. Because if you don't do that, and I'm in here and I do that, and then when you leave, I take that off, I'm exposed to all your germs. Nobody, not my family, nobody is coming in here without gloves, mask, and gown.
Right.
And that's what they did in Toronto, right? That's what they did in London.
Yeah.
It's not the patient that did that.
Yeah.
And that was changed that day. There was nobody come into my room that didn't have a mask, gown, and gloves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because I met the nurse that was working that day
Yeah.
years later, and I did a kids gay Lee thing, fishing day, and her daughter actually ended up working at the store, and I was going on, that topic got brought up, and I kind of was telling this story, and she goes, "Oh, you're that guy." I was working that day. I said, "Oh, yeah, I am that guy." Like, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah. It's neat. There's a lot of hospital experiences for you guys, over the years. Holy smokes.
Yeah. It's a short list, eh?
Jeez. It's unreal, man.
Yeah.
It's, it
I
would
don't
have
know.
taken big dedication from you, big toll of your life. That's good.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously, your investment's paid off here. I'm wearing a muscle built shirt underneath this sweater. I don't even have a shirt.
Well, it's like, even just as a parent though, like you took 1 day a week off work because you had to, and we went to Toronto once every 2 weeks and then once every week. So we used to leave home at 5:30 in the morning and get home at late supper sometimes, So we were all day on the road in the hospital and appointments surgery. I was in Toronto for my bypass for a week, and then my SVC was 5 weeks straight. You and Mom, like I was down there for 5 weeks in hospital in isolation for a bit, and then, but it was fucking awesome. I did finger painting and learned how to do magic tricks with cards and shit. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like that's a lot to take on, having
sure.
3 kids.
For sure.
Have a meet in Toronto, and that was back in the fucking 90s. There's no internet, there's no cell phones.
Man, and
We had a
drive
bag.
to Toronto.
We had a bag full.
Eventually, yeah. It's fucking cooler size cell phone, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cigarette
The
lighter.
originals.
Yeah,
Gotta
it was.
set up a satellite.
Yeah, there's a bag.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Like I said, it's just a lot. I don't
Yeah,
know.
good on you, man. Good on you, because that's huge.
We left. I maybe left Wingham. Did Mom go with you when you went in the ambulance?
I don't think
From
anyone's
Wing to
allowed
Toronto?
in the ambulance. No,
Oh,
no. I was by myself because
that's maybe
I
the
remember.
only time she'd ever bitched at me when I drove,
Yeah,
and I beat the ambulance to the hospital. From
yeah.
Wingham.
I was in China. I
2
went to
hours.
Toronto so many times. I knew the route to get there.
Yeah.
Like literally to get to the hospital from Wing.
Laying down on the back seat, sleeping, and open
Yeah.
his eyes, and he'd say, "Oh, we're here."
Yeah.
You know.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm in the back of the ambulance at 9 years old, whatever, and I open my eyes and I see Chinatown. And I'm like, we're lost. And they're like, no, whatever. I'm like, we don't need to be in Chinatown. And they're like, well, we're en route. We got redirected or whatever, and fine, whatever. And then we get to the hospital and you beat us there by what?
Half an hour.
Half an hour. So we were lost, and I knew it. And they're like, we're good. Like
They're
no,
trying to cover it up.
there is no Chinatown on the way to fucking sick kids, and I know this for a fact.
Yeah.
But and then they're like, well, what the fuck were you doing?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually I feel 43 left turns, and you're doing a lot more
That's
today,
just it.
guys. You're busted.
I was under 2 hours from Wingham to Sick Kids downtown Toronto.
Yeah, you're
And
going.
I passed the ambulance. We went 86 into Kitchener, and they were far enough ahead of me. I didn't know where they were at Wallenstein, but they went through Elmira and went down to Guelph, and I went down 86 and through the expressway and got out in Kitchener. and got on the 401, and I was flying. And when we were coming up to number 6, I saw an ambulance coming across the overpass, and we were back a ways, and it took the bend. And as I'm actually going underneath the overpass, they're actually coming off the ramp beside me.
No way.
And it was one of the 2 brothers that was driving the ambulance in Wingham, the Hickey boys. He was in that ambulance, and from there to the hospital, I beat them. Number 6 highway to Sick Kids Hospital, I beat them by half an hour
Holy
because they
jeez.
got off the wrong place.
Holy.
But I was under 2 hours from Wingham.
Were you
to
getting
Sick
rushed
Kids
there or
Hospital.
something? What was going
Yeah.
on? Oh, yeah?
Superior Vena Cava the first time that he had.
I woke up in the middle of the
bout.
night, couldn't breathe. Yeah.
Oh, that was your first bout with that?
Yeah.
And I was in the hospital. They said that there wasn't a bed, and it like for me, and I said, I don't care, I'm staying. And they said, no, you can't. And I said, I'm staying. And then they put him in a room that had 2 beds, and there was nobody in the extra bed, so I was in the bed beside him.
Yeah.
He woke up in the middle of the night, or made a grunt. He couldn't breathe, and the doctor and the nurse was in there right away, and I was the calmest person in the room.
Yeah.
They were just like
Yeah.
he couldn't
It was a
fucking
fucking
breathe.
shit show.
And then
Yeah, they didn't know
after
what
that,
the hell. So this was.
we got in the ambulance and went to Toronto, and I fucking beat the drivers down there. Like after
Oh, shit.
having no sleep because I was up. because
Oh,
of the
that's why
MRI.
they were shipping you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I could. Basically what was like my throat was all closed off. I was all swollen and I couldn't breathe. Yeah, I don't know.
So what caused that?
I don't really know what caused it at that time. I had whooping cough.
Whooping cough
Yeah.
and Superior Vena Cava kicked in,
Yeah.
and it just kind of closed everything up.
So I got whooping cough, and then that
They
all
didn't know it.
No, I didn't know it, but that's what started that hospital journey. There, is I
But
woke
the
up,
hospital
couldn't breathe.
The hospital didn't know it too.
No, they didn't know it. They just saw. They're like,
Were you
"Well, we don't."
coughing?
I just couldn't breathe. Yeah, everything swelled up. I remember, I held my throat and I was fucking running around. I couldn't breathe.
Holy shit,
Yeah.
man. So it was like almost like anaphylactic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Wow.
And then they get him feeling better. And what movie was that? Batman? Spider-Man?
In theaters. Yeah, it was a Batman movie in the
Batman
theater.
movie. Just
Yeah.
getting released.
in Toronto.
And
I forgot.
they fucking get a driver to come and pick him and Barb up and take him to the theater and watch this movie. And then a day and a half later, he comes back that he's positive for whooping cough.
Yeah.
And he'd been out at this grand opening of this movie
Yeah.
from the hospital.
Yeah.
And then he's in quarantine.
Yeah,
and
it was
nobody
in
can go in there.
isolation.
You've got like everything on.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah, it's that.
Yeah.
Is,
Oh
it's
yeah,
that,
it was full.
Yeah.
Not even mask. It was full headgear. Everything.
yeah.
Wow.
Everything.
Is that contagious?
Because Nick,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Because Nick
Huge.
went down.
Yeah.
Nick, his buddy, one of his buddies, Nick
Yeah.
went down, and he thought it was cool because he was into capes and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So he was decked out on all this stuff to go to visit Bill.
Yeah, we were
Damn.
fucking playing Batman's, and I had a Nintendo in my room because anything that came in my room couldn't go out. So
Oh.
I got the Nintendo for the day,
Yeah.
and I had it for 2 weeks because it's like, well, we can't
Extra
take
long
it's-
rental,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it was
Yeah.
too contagious. So every day I'm like,
And it
well,
was a cabinet, like
Yeah.
this freaking big on wheels.
I'm locked
Nice.
in my room with the door shut and everything, and I'm playing Nintendo,
playing
doing
Nintendo.
finger paints and shit. It was cool. Yeah.
What was
Calm.
your favorite pastime when you're in bed? Like, what would you do the most? You think?
I probably played Nintendo at Sick Kids.
Played Nintendo?
Yeah. I slept a lot though too.
That's amazing that they have that for kids, man.
Oh man, Sick Kids was a really good like overall experiences
Yeah,
for
eh?
sure. Like I don't know.
See,
They
that's
were-
crazy. They turned into the hospital visit to an experience.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that, just for you to say that.
Yeah,
well, Wayne Gretzky came into the room.
yeah. I
Wayne
met Wayne
Gretzky did?
Gretzky
He
a
was
couple
get-
times.
He was
yeah.
getting his
Oh
treatment.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
I
she
met
was-
all the sports teams, fucking
Yeah.
the Bulls or whatever, or not the Bulls. I don't know.
Raptors.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were a big influence on you, eh?
Yeah. Plus, yeah. So all these kids are going nuts with these sports
Hockey.
dudes coming in. Yeah,
Football.
the hockey guys, and I'm like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah, but sick.
Yeah, there's like this team full of dudes come in. I'm like, what's up? You know, and they're like, yeah, we play sports. I'm like, sweet. I don't.
Sick. Yeah.
I don't know what do you want.
Can someone beat this level on Nintendo
Yeah,
for
right.
me?
I got Donkey Kongs to win here. Let's go. No, it was good. Like, and then I ended up going to a couple of games down at the ACC. There was a
Cujo's game.
Cujo's
Joseph-
box I sat in, and
Curtis Joseph.
Nice.
He was the goalie.
Nice,
So he
yeah.
had his own box, and I think he had it. I think they said he had it for 1 or 2 days out of the year for his family.
Yeah.
And after that, it was kids from the
He gave it
hospital
to
went
sick kids.
every,
Awesome.
every game.
so I went down with
Awesome.
my grandpa. Grandpa watched every day hockey night in Canada for fucking 50 years. And then Grandpa and I drove down to Toronto and go in Cujo's box and the ACC.
Oh, dude,
and
that's awesome.
Get chicken
experience.
wing,
Wow.
chicken fingers, and pop. You know. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome.
Like, hey, Grandpa, you
And
want to
sick
come
kids
see a
line
game?
that up?
Yep.
Wow.
They asked me if I wanted to go. I said no. I don't watch. I don't watch sports.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
And then I mentioned his grandpa, and he goes, "That's a good idea," but I had to drive him down.
Yeah.
So I drove them down and dropped them off, and put the radio on with the hockey team, and drove around, or parked. I did different things,
Yeah.
but the radio
Just
had the
listening
hockey
to the
game
game.
on, so
Yeah.
I knew when it was over.
Yeah.
So I'd go back and pick them up.
You're a warrior. Good for you.
Yeah. No,
Good for
see,
you.
no cell phones, right? We just
Yeah.
listened to the radio. It
Yeah.
was good. Yeah.
Got the map out.
Yeah. Like there was a lot of different upsides for sure, and I think I was very fortunate, or we were, to have that kind of also positive impact and not just fear. The hospital for a lot of people is 100% fear based. And I really don't have that experience at all. So, I mean, I was too young to be like cognitively scared. You're a year and a half old. You don't know
Yeah.
that shit. You're scared of everything.
Yeah.
Or nothing.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's,
Either way.
you don't take it in. It's you're scared of everyone staring at me. What's going on? It's
Yeah.
like I don't even notice there's needles going in my body.
Yeah.
But it's Anyways, it's been very. And I think that's why I'm able to have a different perspective than most people. It's like I don't know. I don't remember before this, so there is no other than this.
There's no one I know that has a history with hospitals like you do. There's nobody I know.
I
That was
would
a
like to
major
find
part of your life, man.
Yeah. I actually just had this talk with my doctor the other day, but I would like to try and network with somebody anywhere really that's like, are you 30 to 35 and have your body all cut up and like,
Yeah.
are you taking a lot of energy to stay alive too? Because that'd be nice to find.
Yeah.
'cause
See what they're up to.
Yeah, like what do you do? How do you like what?
There's probably not very many, man. Sorry to tell you.
But they're
but-
around somewhere. Like
Yeah.
some-
Oh, yeah.
not
There'll be
like-
other warriors, but
Yeah.
there probably isn't that many.
I don't know. That's what I mean. Like I'd like to
guessing.
be like, what do you got? How many times you almost died? I don't know. Like, what's that like?
Yeah. They're out there for
I
sure.
know.
I'm just thinking in my head, I
Yeah.
know a shitload of people.
Yeah.
I know nobody even close to that.
No. Well, neither do I.
Nobody.
But it's the
And
point.
neither do you.
The search is on. So if anybody listening,
Yeah.
do
you fit the bill?
You also take 400 pills a week.
Yeah.
Because that'd be cool if you did.
Did your doctor recommend you eat 4,500 bananas a day
Or the potassium.
instead of taking potassium?
Yeah. Find me on the internet. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, fuck.
I like it. I like just hearing just both of you, how you just approach things. It's great. It's a great mentality. No bullshit. And it really, what it centralizes around is what am I able to focus on? What can I do right now?
Yeah.
Never
what can be
mind
done?
what happened, what's going on,
Yeah.
step one, what's step one? Let's deal with step one. Like, don't worry about step two. Let's deal with step one. That's a great way to look at it.
I think a lot of the time it is, yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
There's stuff you can't control. So why do you need to know or want to know, or like the more you know, the more you're going to worry, or somebody is going to worry. So why not know what you need to know to deal with what's going on right now
100%.
and do what you got to do? Like
Yeah.
you have no control over that. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like that's just what you got to do. Actually, some of it relates to work. I had a guy who my partner is now, Dave Heffer. He had heart issues back years ago, and we were working back then. And there was some shit happening at work that wasn't serious, but serious enough and down a little bit. And so I started I Don't Give a Fuck crew. And it was very open about it, too. It was just kind of like, and everybody wanted to be part of this I Don't Give a Fuck crew. But the guys that were part of it actually went in and did their job and went home, and they did extra.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, it was just a big laugh because he had some serious shit going on with his heart and stuff. And that was going to be a big issue. And well, every time something was going on, I said, well, I really don't give a fuck. Well, he'd laugh like hell and whatever. And it just kind of stuck. It still
Yeah.
sticks now.
Yeah.
But somebody will be down, there'll be something be happening. It'll just be, oh, it looks like you're part of this I Don't Give a Fuck
Yeah.
crew. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of
On with it.
Yeah, it's just on with it. It's just kind of you do what you got to do and carry on. And
Yeah, no, that's a great view.
A
on
prime
things.
example of that, like how many parents would you say you talked to or we talked to over the years about not even just with cholesterol, but in sick kids and wherever we ran into so many people, people run into new things. They're like, we're in the hospital now. Like, oh, I'm in the hospital all the time. What do you need to know? And like how many parents would you say we talked to?
oh, dozens.
Yeah.
Like it started out when we first went. What was his name?
Michael.
Maya.
Yeah.
Him
Yeah.
and his mother were there, and he was getting his line out, and we were going in to get ready to get a line, and we got to sit down and an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever, just talk
don't know,
about
yeah.
because he was older and he was already going through what we were going to be going through with Bill, and so we did that, and our nurse, she was with us for the whole day. every appointment, every room, every minute.
Yeah.
There was she just come in and she was just there the whole day.
Nice.
So once we got into stuff, then they have new families coming in. They're saying, well, we have these new families coming in and they're scared. They don't know anything about anything. And like, they want to meet with somebody. Sure. Book them in the day we're down. So they started booking families in and not even asking. They just book them in because we're all going into one room.
Console each other.
They just
questions.
Just the questions.
Yeah.
Bill could be on the machine. We were down there for like 2.5 hours, whatever we were. And it's either when he's on the machine or after he's on the machine or whatever. We'd get down to the lunchroom, have cafeteria, have something to eat before we go home, whatever. And they just talk. Like, what are you doing? And it just went on.
Most people want to probably know step one or clarify step one.
See
right?
the central line because they were going in for central line.
Yeah.
What's a central line? Well, there it is.
Yeah.
Like,
And not only that, but like, I'm going back to school. Like, I'm here for the day and it's a manageable thing versus like, well, how do you, like, what does this do? It's like, well, don't get it pulled out and go to school. I don't know. It's normal, right?
Yeah.
Educate them. Educate the teachers. Like, go into the school. Have a talk.
Don't be shy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really neat. Like, and that's where in my talks I talk about that. It's like I've seen so many people like literally look over like in jail. It's like, what are you in for?
Yeah.
I don't know yet. It's something crazy. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, I just have high cholesterol. I don't know. It seems pretty easy. And they're like, well, it's for lifelong. I'm like, yep. I'm like, oh, I'm like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's up. Like, well, see you next week. And then the next week I come back. Yeah, any news? Like, nope. Oh, well, see you next week, And it's I don't know, it's to me it's kind of fun. It's like, oh, well, I met a dude from St. Thomas. He had a bunch of crazy shit. And I don't know. He's like, man, that one blonde nurse? And I'm like, oh yeah. And I said her name and he's like, that nurse.
Of course you would.
Yeah. We're like probably 10, 15 feet apart, like one bed in the middle. He's like, and I saw her coming down the hall. I'm like, hey man. He's like, yeah. I'm like, hang on. He's like, oh, we're about the same age. Anyway, it's good. I'm like, I got your back.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Any relationships you've built, either of you, and kept at the hospitals?
When we were going to sick kids, Geraldine was a nurse who actually the person who actually first met. She ended up getting removed from the team, but was still part of, because some of that stuff's research. She had an office. She kind of went out and around the corner and right to the far end of the hospital down the hall, and it wasn't for us, but the office was down there, and that's where their office was. And get down with Bill, and after we weren't going down there anymore, we were going to London, but Joe was still doing some stuff down there. So we'd go down, and after we were done, we just I'd go for a hike, and they say, oh, you got to go the other way. I said, no, I know where I'm going. Don't worry about it. So I'd go out the hall and walk down the end of this hall I'm not supposed to be in and go to the knock on the door, and there's maybe 10 people in there, and I'm knocking on the door, and somebody says, can I help you? Geraldine around? And she'd jump up and come out. And so, we went down and just appeared out of nowhere, and she was either there or she wasn't.
Yeah.
Shot the shit with her for quite a while.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd like to connect with her again. Really, it'd be good to see her, but I haven't. There's two other guys that came in after me that are a bit younger than me that I saw the one this summer, maybe twice, but I don't stay in contact with them. Like they haven't had the same experience I have. Their conditions are the same but less severe. So like neither of them have had surgery. It's just a very different life experience than I've had. So I do know a couple of people, but it hasn't been the same, So which brings me back to like I would be curious, even if it's not high cholesterol, like something else.
Yeah.
What are you dealing with? Like let's talk some shit.
Yeah, to that level.
Like the nerve pain we talked about this summer.
Yeah.
I would like that was a neat thing for me because it's like I can't relate to that on a pinched nerve, but I have also had nerve pain and it's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And I also know I don't know anybody else that has had that.
Yeah.
So but that's a neat thing to be able to relate to.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'd like to do that more on like, oh fuck, you had this. Like, war stories.
Find the extreme level that you are in.
Yeah. Just to be able to sit.
Yeah.
I find it relaxing to do.
Yeah.
Because
you say like it is all subjective, but it'd be nice for you to, I'm sure, discuss with a similar case.
Right.
For sure.
No, it's neat. And just as you said with the nerve pain, you're like, you get it.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man.
I didn't know that existed, man.
Yeah.
I had nerve pain before, but then there's levels of nerve pain. I thought nerve pain was nerve pain. No. No. There's nerve pain, then there's getting plugged into a wall like you're getting crispy baked, man.
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, your level of cholesterol is supposed to be what, 3 to 5?
Yeah.
And back when you were young, it was like 27.9.
Wow, was that high?
Oh, yeah.
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 I don't know if there's anybody higher in the world at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'd be neat to look into, too.
Pretty impressively high. Yeah.
Like, what ranges have people been diagnosed at?
And well, to put that into perspective, again, one of my doctors was in a conference in, I think it was Germany, but presenting basically cases 1 to 10. I was on the chart, and the doctors at the conference didn't believe that I had homozygous cholesterolemia because my levels were too consistently good. But none of their patients had the same experience. But because I was going to the gym all the time, I'm in charge of my diet. I'm on, like, I never miss fucking medication. I never have in my life, you know.
Yeah.
All these things I do every day, all the time, nonstop. They don't have a patient that does that, and therefore their levels are all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
And so, like, that patient doesn't have the right diagnosis. He's like, I'll show you the genes. It is the right diagnosis. That's how fucking in control this guy is.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's unheard of, you know?
That's
so my
awesome.
levels went from being astronomically high, like, I don't know factually that there was nobody else that high, but there's not that many people, to being among some of the best in the diagnosis cases with the worst actual case, you know, or
Right.
one of the worst.
Yeah.
So it's a big, I guess, to just kind of tie that all back in, though, you can do what you can do and just fucking do it. It makes a difference, you know? It's not like, well, my level's as high as it can be and now I'm fucked. It's like, well, what can I do? I can eat well, I can exercise, you know, do these things and see where I land.
Yeah.
Well, I'm landing pretty fucking good 34
Yeah.
years later, you know?
Yeah.
So do what you can,
Damn
right?
right.
To say the exact same sentiment you said, 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
It all comes back.
100%. And
Yeah.
the don't worry about the things you can't control. That's huge, man. 'Cause I
Yeah.
even slip on that one a lot of times.
Dude, but me too.
And
you know?
you listen to motivational or successful videos, and they're saying the same thing you said.
Yeah.
You know, like, get after it,
Yeah.
what you can, and don't worry about all the other bullshit. Like, what's it going to serve you?
Yep.
Just going to bring it down.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
and
My-
you and everyone else.
yeah.
My father was, he had a aneurysm in his stomach. And he was up in Owen Sound. And that's back a few years ago. And I was going to go up and see him. So ended up going up to see him. And his nurse was in there, and he gets talking about me and my stuff. Well, it ends up the nurse's mother had diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, the same thing I had, and went through the same treatment, went through the whole thing. And then, so we're talking, shooting the shit a little bit. And then I'm pretty much done. And she goes, yeah, the worst of it is she beat it. Everything was good. But then she got T-cell lymphoma. I thought, you did not need to fucking tell me.
Yeah, why?
But it's still, I'm glad she did. But
Yeah.
at the time, I'm thinking, like, you're a nurse. Why would you tell me that?
Yeah, exactly.
But
There
she-
goes your blood pressure.
She needed to. Oh,
Yeah.
but no, I've you can put a pressure cuff on me, and I don't think it really changes much anymore.
No,
I just
eh?
kind of, it's just
Just-
whatever. It's something you'd have no. If that ever happened, I have no control over. it.
Yeah.
But in the last 9 years, I had somebody else that was fighting cancer, and they actually asked me, "Did you ever think of ending it?" I said, "No." Just bang right away, and they said, like that's a lot, and being like some of the I didn't get sick. I wasn't vomiting. I wasn't throwing up. I got tired.
Yeah.
That was my symptoms.
Yeah.
The one doctor said if I was going to get cancer, this is the one I'd want because the treatment gets you tired. You're not throwing up, and that's huge.
Yeah.
Like you throwing up into the mix to all this stuff, and that's crazy. But this person kind of said, like, they were implying that they actually had thought about just ending it.
Oh, for sure.
And I said, all right. And I knew them. And I said, would you want it to miss this? Would you want it to miss this? First grandchild, next grandchild, wedding, going on. And I just started naming them. And they just kind of looked at me. And I thought, yeah, no, you don't want to miss that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, that's you just get rid of that. That's gone.
Yeah.
Like, and never, ever, ever brought that up again.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, never crossed my mind. No, if something's going to get me down, I'm going to punch on a windshield.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
I like your
whatever.
attitude
Like-
a lot better than
Yeah. I put my arm through windows before. I've done crazy shit. Like, it's whatever.
I got the scars. Scars here, ended up in the hospital, bleeding from here to the camera. Like a girl took her top off and wrapped it around my arm.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Bonus.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Quick, I need your top.
Yeah. I didn't even have to pick.
I like it. I like it.
When I was being treated with cancer, I had a lot of time in the hospital. I did a lot of walking because they said walking was good because I was in bed so much. And there was 2 guys ended up being in the room with broken hips. One guy had his leg cut off at his knee. And so the washroom was on their side. So I'm walking over there, and this one guy says, he's buzzing the nurse like crazy. He says, "Can you help me?" I don't know. What do you need? Well, I want to get in bed. You know, well, I got to take a piss. So I went into the washroom. I come back out, and I said, "All right, what do you need?" He goes, "Well, I need somebody to take my leg off." So he got the leg kind of and he gave it to me, and I piled it over where he wanted it. And then he's got a hat over top of his knee, like for protection. So you take that off, and then there's another layer. Take that off. You hang it up so it's wet, so it doesn't get so it dries.
Yeah.
So I did that, and he goes, his hip's been operated on, like they've replaced the hip, and he goes, I can't get my leg up on bed. Oh, whatever. So I go over and I grab his leg, and his other one's doesn't have a leg on it. I just grab it up and I kind of slide it on the bed. And he's sitting up. He says, "Well, can you untie my gown?" He sweats like a sucker, like I do. And he wanted the gown untouched, and he just flops it down, has it on his waist. So I'm doing this, and the nurse walks in, and she goes, "What are you doing?" "Your fucking job." And she starts laughing, and the guy's laughing because I'm helping, eh? Yeah. And so she helped him lay down. I already had his knot untied. He helped him lay down, and so I go back over to the bed. And a little while later, I get out of bed, and I go to the washroom again, and the guy in the other bed says, "My light, it's got the chain on it with that keychain snap thing.
Yeah.
It broke." And he says, "I can't reach that. Can you do something with that?" I said, "I'm going to the washroom again." Sure. After I come out, so I actually shut the light off, I think, for him. But before I did, I said, "Well, where's the chain thing?" So he got it. So I actually fixed it and put it there, and then went and laid down. And then I got up a little while later, and I'm going for a walk out in the hall. I was able to walk down to the end of the hall and go across and come back and whatever, and they wanted me to walk so much. So I'm going down, and where the cross-section was, different patients down further, and I saw a nurse walk in the room, and she was mask, gloves, the shield, and everything on her. And as I'm getting close, she comes back out, and she had an armful of like bedding and everything. She threw it in basket, with a lid on it, dirty lid in it. And she's looking and looking and looking and looking, and there's supposed to be another nurse coming. Well, she got delayed. She goes, "Excuse me, can you help me?" Whatever, what do you need? Well, the laundry is on the other side of the hall. For her to come out, she has to take all this stuff off, discard it, come out and get it, put it somewhere, put it all back on and go back in. And I said, "Yeah, I can help you. What do you need?" So I walked over and I'm pointing, and she says, "Yep." So I get this pile of stuff, and it's the lady had let go, and it was all over everything, bedding and everything. So they needed everything for her, and all the bedding all needed replaced. Yeah. So I'm getting all this stuff, and I got this pile of stuff, and I'm taking it back across the hall. And as I'm doing this, the nurse comes around the corner that's coming to help. Well, she had to stop walking. She was laughing that hard because she knew what happened. She was delayed, right? And I said, "I just want both of you to know, from here on in, if I have to do anything else in this hospital, I'm going on the fucking payroll."
Yeah, no doubt.
And they didn't know what else had happened, but they were laughing about all this stuff, right? So I just carried on. So, but when I was in there, I had an hour and a half sleep at 5 a.m. and an hour and a half sleep midnight or something like that. And after that, I was awake all the time. I was on steroids, and people, like I'd help it do anything. I'm walking around, I was cheerful, I was doing whatever, but I was on a lot of drugs. And nobody in the cancer ward, when I got to the cancer ward, there was nobody in the cancer ward that talked to me at all. They hated me that much.
Oh, yeah?
Because everybody else was just laying around dying. Nobody else thought of, like, okay, I gotta do something about this. I gotta be positive. I want to get out of bed and walk. I want to do that. And it wasn't that they were actually literally dying. It's just that they were the total opposite of what I was. Couldn't get any further away the other way.
Yeah.
I had one of the spouses talk to me once out of the week I was in the cancer ward. That's the only patient or family that had.
You had a different mentality. They didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess they don't know if they have the power. They don't have
They don't have the confidence that they do, and they don't have any experience otherwise, probably, right?
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, definitely.
But getting down only gets you down, you know?
Well, you only go down further.
Yeah. But that's just it.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it happens sometimes for sure. But
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
if you stay there, you're going to be staying there a long fucking time. So,
No, it's good that you have that built in you, that drive.
to get into the walking a bit, you obviously do a lot of walking now.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think, is that something that helps you, like, just clearing your head and stuff too? Do you find, like, kind of like fishing or?
Yeah, I can't fish. Like
Yeah.
once it gets into last winter, I
Yep.
walked for 45 minutes to an hour and a half in the treadmill at
Yep. At the
410.
gym. Yep.
And good weather, I walked outside. Other weather, I walked with you. Like, right?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, we did a lot.
Then I just go into the gym and put fishing shows on or whatever, or YouTube, whatever, and start watching different things about different fishing.
Yep.
Walked and walked and walked and walked. Today,
Yep.
listened to your iPad with on the Maven.
Yep.
And it wasn't long enough.
Yeah, you walked.
I walked
yeah.
too far.
Yeah,
I
walked
walked
it.
further. I went 8,000
Yeah.
steps. It was 53 or 54 minutes or whatever it was, but
And you're trying to do 5 million in 1 steps this year. So it's like,
Yep.
even just from a general perspective, you work full time, like rotating
Continental,
shift,
12-hour
days and
shifts,
nights.
days and
Yeah,
nights.
12 hours. You work a shitload, normal for you. And then you also fish up
shitload.
to 12-hour days every day that you can. And you also are trying to hit 5 million steps this year total. And like, you have 50 schools running with fucking salmon, or not this year because of COVID, but like up until this spring or this fall, you've had 50 aquariums with salmon eggs and brown trout all over the province. Like,
and we're from
you're going and going and going all the time.
Sarnia to Milton to Orangeville. We were at Innisfil up to Collingwood, and we got 2 schools up Manitoulin Island that I'm not doing, but
Yeah.
Bruce Power gave us the money
Facilitated,
to
yep.
actually send them all the equipment, and they have their own eggs, so they're doing it. So I've still did that part of it. So
Yep.
in between, there's 50 schools in between there.
Well, just my whole life, you volunteered, and before that too, scouts and fucking
Archery, kids
everything I've
archery.
ever done, archery.
Yeah.
You know,
15
and
years, 75 kids shooting archery for
yeah, casting kids. We
Casting
did that for
kids.
years. You
Yeah.
know,
the boys and girls all went down to the
Yeah.
States and won $5,000 scholarships.
Awesome.
yeah. No, you're go. You know, I don't know anybody else. You know, aside from maybe you, that goes the same.
Yeah, you go, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, fuck. There's a lot on the plate, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
So-
that's the way to have it.
Yeah.
On the step count, I lost almost 2 months this year, and then I went fishing for 2.5, 3 weeks. That I had 2,000, maybe 5,000 steps a day, and I'm still possibly going to hit the 5 million one by
Yeah.
the end of the year.
You had essentially
So-
2 months out.
Yeah, 2 months out, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm not positive I'm going to hit it yet, but I'm on track that I could
Yep.
Nice.
with missing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's neat.
Yeah.
1,000 steps a day when I was in the hospital was their goal. But and actually I taught physiotherapy down at the hospital this time. I was down there, and they said you have to walk this, whatever. I had my phone, and so I went out and I walked, and come back, and they said something about they weren't there, and they come back and they'd say something about you have to do your walk. I said no, I've already done it. Hit my app and show them the steps. They said oh, so then the next day would be more. The next day would be more. I think the 4th day was more. And then after that, I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Whatever, my body just
Too
shut
much.
down.
You had a cap.
It realized something had happened. My body
Oh, yeah, the
realized
brain bleed. Yeah.
My
The-
body caught on to what was
Yeah.
going on. It just kind of boom.
The inflammation hit, I think, is
And
what,
and I couldn't walk.
Oh, yeah.
And now they're ready to kick me out. And I was to go on the Friday, and I said like, I'm not going home. And they said, yeah, you are. And they're like, you're good. We had to do a test, and they did that on the Friday so I could go home. So, well, I really don't give a shit what you say. I'm not going home. And so they brought in 2 physio people, little skinny things. And they said, okay, we're going for a walk. And I said, go get a wheelchair. And they said, nope, you don't need a wheelchair. We're going to one on each arm. I had my legs swung out of bed, and I said, well, either go get a wheelchair or I'm putting them back in bed. Nope, we're getting up. So I just swung my legs back in bed and laid down.
They're saying, like, you got to go for a walk. I said, go get a wheelchair. And they did. So then I got out and I started walking. The one lady was holding on my elbow, and like they couldn't have held up. I'm 240 pounds I was.
Yeah.
They couldn't hold me up. And so I start walking, and I said, I'm not going to be able to make it down to the next room. They wanted me to walk around the whole freaking hall. It's a lot of steps. And I got halfway to the next room, and I was going down, and she got the wheelchair underneath me, and I sat down. And they're on the, like, we can't believe it. Like, you should be able to walk this. What's going on? I said, I have no idea. That's your job.
Right, but
But I'm telling you, something's going on.
Yeah.
I cannot walk. I got 21 steps to go up when I get home.
Yeah.
I'm not going home.
Yep.
So then I walked Saturday a little bit. Sunday I did once around the hall and then come back again. But I had to go twice around the hall before I could go home. Plus I had to do steps. So then the Monday I went out and I went around in the morning. I went around the hall twice. And then just afternoon, they come down to get me to go do the steps. So I had to go down to the end of the hall and then go up the steps, halfway up the steps to the next floor and then back down. So I went and did that. And then by the time I got back to the room, they'd already phoned Barb and told her to come and pick me up.
Really?
Yeah. But the lady
Yeah.
about the steps things with the physio, she said like about this, like you need to do this many steps. And I said, don't worry about that. I'll be doing the steps. She goes like, yeah, but no, it's a time thing. I said, no, it isn't. It's that many steps. I said, you need to incorporate this app on people's phones because everybody has a phone now. Make them put a step counter on there so you can say, I want to see your phone and go to the app and see how many steps they actually did.
Yeah.
Rather than, are they telling you they're doing 3,000, but they're only doing one?
Yeah.
I said, like, because I did, I think it was 12 or 1,300.
Yeah, you did for
Average
sure.
the first week.
Yeah.
Not-
And then it
not
was
everyone
3,000
wants
the next week, then it
accountability,
was
though.
6,000.
But not only that, if you literally can't do it, it's good to be able to track. It's like, what day did you go downhill?
No,
Yeah.
I think
don't
it's
know.
great, but a
Yeah.
lot of people wouldn't want that
absolutely.
accountability or record or anything because you'd be like, well, fuck, they'll know I skipped Saturday, Sunday. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
But it's your health.
Yeah, you're hurting.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
I agree
yeah,
with you.
so-
I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So I put that on there, and now every phone I've had, I put that on
Yeah,
there.
that's
It's just
good.
kinda
That's
like-
good. A lot of people are catching on to that, I find, is the step counting thing. I did it once just for a competition at work, but I never followed it after the competition was done. But it was neat. I liked the fact that it just gave you like a mission that day to
Yeah.
exercise more. Gave you another reason to exercise.
Yep.
I've had over 32,000 steps in one day.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're a busy guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to kind of wrap up, do you have any, like, we'll say words of wisdom or advice to people, whether it's involved with their health or just in general in life, or like, do you have anything you can leave anybody with?
Big thing about, I think most of the stuff that we've had to deal with is if you have any control over it, then you can actually try to change things, do whatever. But if something happens up or pops up and you don't have any control over what is going to happen, how to control it, how to deal with it or whatever, you just need to get by that. If you can't control it, then you need to follow up with medical, do what you got to do to make it happen and follow through. But you can't let that worry you if you don't have any control of it.
Yeah,
With
you
my
can't let it
cancer-
bring you down.
Yeah, with my cancer, I could have died. I have no control over that.
Yeah.
So why would I want to focus an awful lot of my energy on
Yeah.
it? Yeah, maybe I could die. Like I told him, I could have, after I went through everything with you, I said, you could tell me I'm going to die tomorrow. It doesn't really matter to me. It's kind of
Yeah.
like, whatever.
Yep.
It's just an attitude thing that you got to get to. And there's some things that you just really can't give a fuck about. Like it's easy as that.
Yep. Yeah, literally life and death. Sometimes you can't give a fuck about it, and not in a careless way, but
Yep.
just in the,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Keep
and
your sanity away.
yeah, we're going to go out one day. We're all fucking dying. It's
Yeah.
a fact.
Yeah.
You know, sure. No, that's good. Just on another note, too, for the podcast on the back end, if anybody's subscribed, we're going to have that version of the podcast going down. So you're going to have to resubscribe. So take a look on your podcast listening platform and find the Maximum Meathead podcast again, and then subscribe again. That'd be dope.
Subscribe twice
The
to
round
us.
one, not the square one.
Yeah, well, the other one will be gone.
Oh.
So it's going to be down anytime now. So I don't know, probably maybe not when this comes out, but very shortly after. And we're just doing a switch on the back end a bit. So
Yep.
anyway, we didn't get deleted. We are still on there.
Yeah.
Just in maybe a different spot. So, but otherwise, yeah, it's neat having you on. You've always supported everything I've always done. Like, everything. The band stuff. You've been to most of the shows, every show you could come to. You videotape, and like Joe and I both, archery and fucking everything. My powerlifting, So it's neat to have you. The podcast is something we're working on, and it's good to have you on and talk about everything and coming out.
Awesome being here.
Yeah. So you're on Facebook. I don't know. You're Richard Elliott Jr. I'm not sure. Yeah. And then Instagram, you're Spinnerbait King.
Yep.
Is there a number on that? I don't remember. No.
Spinnerbait King. Yeah.
And your blog is
South Bruce Guide Service.
Yep.
Also run Lake Huron Fishing Club school salmon hatchery program.
Yep.
Got a blog for that too.
Some of that
kind of
stuff's on
laxing on that a
YouTube.
little bit. Got some YouTube.
Yep. No, that's good. So you find them online anyway. We'll link it all up, and it's
It was
great.
an awesome conversation. I enjoyed it. It was
Yeah.
awesome. It's funny to see two versions of you. Like, is it the older version or the younger version?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Joel's head keeps going back and forth.
Yeah, it's funny. You put Pup Elliott in the same room too, and it's very much I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's cool. This
Yeah.
was an experience for me.
that's good. But in the meantime, make an appointment, donate blood. Everybody,
Yeah.
COVID doesn't shut that down. So get in and save a life.
Still need blood.
Absolutely. Till next time.
Wear a mask.
Yeah. Fuck.
Nah,
Bye.
Bye.